Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host Dennis Bethalkis. What is up, my friend?
Nothing much, man. Just glad that, you don't have any more lasers coming from above and setting fires in your area,
Yeah, it's the smoke has not left yet. People have upgraded on their masks, by the way. They're all wearing like these really high-tech masks. Fucking San Francisco. We also have in parts unknown the great Susan Layton from 1428elm.com. How are you, Susan?
Hey, I'm great. Good talking to you, Dennis and Gary, and glad to see that your own personal Tunguska is not burning your house down.
Yeah, right. It's crazy here in California. Everybody, it's on fire and there's smoke. San Francisco looks like Beijing right now, and everybody's walking around. People who do go outside have masks on. Nobody's really going outside. It's really bizarre scene. There's smoke everywhere, and it's like empty streets. It looks very post-apocalyptic. Yeah, but hey, it doesn't stop us from live streaming, having a good time. Having the regular crew in here. What's up, Destiny Captain, Mary Ashmead, Steele Johnson, Jody, Tyon Ranger, Robert McCarthy. What's up, Robert? How's it going, dude? Philip A. Demick. We already got a super chat from Steele Johnson, $2, because first can be awesome. It can be. First impressions are always good. Who else do we have in here? We had CD Horde is in here, and Tickaman Blade. And the Hound 3000 needs some hugs. Welcome to you all. If I missed somebody, just say hey. Hidden Wiki, what's up, Hidden Wiki? And we're gonna wait for people to roll in. And we thank you for Tim F. What's up? We thank you for choosing us. It's it's always a busy Friday night, and we'll try to keep it fun for you guys. What's up, Felipe Diaz? Dark Angel Ire. Dark Angel Ire. What's up? How's it going? Penn Farm Girls in the house. Movie Fanobi. Hello. DJ Bowman. Oh, they're rolling in. Okay, so yeah, there's lots to talk about. Dennis has laid out a ton of news, plus I added some things because I just need to get them off my chest. We're gonna be talking about the Crimes of Grindelwald, which I originally titled the podcast, but I changed it. Was the Crimes of J.K. Rowling, because she committed some canon crimes, or did she? It's kind of confusing. Yeah, I'm going to get into spoiler stuff with Crimes of Grindelwald later. Of course, Doctor Who, we got some, I'm going to be doing a separate video on this, but we're also going to talk about it here tonight. Doctor Who, we've had a theory here I've had a theory. I say we, but you, everybody, that their scripts have been kind of messed with and doctored, and for lack of a better term, and it appears that they have been. So and a very prolific writer said so it adds some weight to the argument, and there's a double message in it, and we'll get to that. Plus, I just finished watching The Ballad of Bust Scruggs. It's a Coen Brothers film on Netflix. Holy shit, is it good? It is so good. You need to be watching that after you watch us, of course. Mr. Mojo Ryzen, what is up? It's seriously just a brief review. It's the best thing they've done, in my opinion, since Oh Brother. So there. And it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix movie. It is in theaters as well. And Star Wars casting, limited release. Yeah, just so it can get some awards, which it really deserves. It probably won't get any because it's on Netflix. And then we have some Winds of Winter, Game of Thrones news, rumors, innuendo, but what the hell? We're not a news agency, so I don't care. And what else do we have on our list here? We have Swamp Thing.
We have all kinds of stuff.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Taboo. Chris Pratt.
Jack Reacher.
Jack Reach-Around.
Some comic news. Sweet Tooth and Joe Lansdale and all kinds of stuff.
And a major announcement concerning this Sunday. So stay tuned. Sunday. We're going to be having a guest, a big time guest. So yes, we have Taboo news. I mean, like, if you guys are on the Patreon, you've already heard it, but yes, Jack Reach Around. I said it, but I'm not the only one. Come on.
Yeah. And thank you, Movie Fanobi, for the $4.99 Friday night nerd time. Hey, Gary. Hey, Susan. Dennis, in spite of Gary adding news, you're good enough, handsome, and gosh darn it, people like you.
Gosh
Thank
darn
you,
it,
Movie.
people like you. Idris
Thank you,
Elba.
Stuart.
Idris Elba is the guest on Sunday. Yes.
Yeah.
Played by Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. Never gets old.
I'm sorry, Jody, and apologies to Doomcock. This is a bigger guest than Doomcock. And Doomcock would even say it. Come on. This is a bigger guest. So
yes.
And it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Let's let people roll in. Just man, how was everybody's day today? Happy Friday. I'm so happy to be at Friday Night Tights. This is my favorite show. Jessica Alba or Idris Elba. They're spelled the same. But.
Hidden Wiki wants more dick jokes. Obviously didn't get enough from the Titans podcast.
Dude, what dick jokes did I use in the title? I had them written down. Dick is growing on me. Dick has been replaced. There is no substitute for Dick. Dick penetrated the building, and
you just don't change dicks in midstream.
You don't change. Oh, that's funny. I didn't use that one. And they've been thrusting Dick upon us. Those are just a few. You got to check out the Titans podcast. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, we are 1 week away from the 1-year anniversary of Friday Night Tights, folks.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, the Nerdotic podcast, we have many anniversaries here. We also have our 5-year anniversary coming up, but we started doing this regularly on Friday night 1 year ago next week. So we started with the Punisher review, was our first Friday night show. Yes.
Memories.
I wish it was Bruce Campbell. Not as big as Bruce Campbell. They're asking who it is. So
do you want to start with that since people are rolling in, or
okay.
You know, wait?
Why not? Well, I was going to tease it out a little longer.
they're all chomping at the bit here.
They're chomping at the bit. All right. So we're at 69 viewers. So what the hell? This Sunday, 2 p.m., co-creator of Happy, co-creator of Transmetropolitan, co-creator of The Boys, co-executive producer of The Boys, and one of the best comic book artists out there right now, Derek Robertson, will be joining us 2 p.m. Sunday. Be there. Just be there.
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
Derek Robertson. And one of the, just one of the coolest people out there. He's a friend of mine, and I can't wait to have him on the show. And we finally got a commitment today, but
nice.
it was cool. It was cool. Yes.
Yeah, no, I know we've been trying for a while.
We have. So I'm very happy. Simon Pegg is in The Boys, Tyon Ranger.
Yes.
He's just not playing Baby Huey. So
yeah, he's too old to play Baby Huey now. So he's playing Baby Huey's dad.
Yeah.
That's what he's aged into.
Yep. But he's gonna he sent me a picture of him and Carl Urban, which was awesome.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm like, you fucker. He's just like hanging with Carl Urban, and a picture of him and Simon Pegg. He's got a co-executive producer credit on the show.
Nice.
I'm so proud of him. And of course, we'll be talking about Stan Lee, DJ Bowman. Yeah, because Dennis and why don't we start with that? Because you guys weren't. We did an amazing live show that had got 19,000 views. We had 2,000 live viewers. It was nuts. We probably, we were on the air I was on the air for like an hour, and then it went into the chat that Stan had died, and I went and changed the title, and it just turned into a wake for Stan Lee. But any thoughts on that, Dennis?
He was 95 when he went. I mean, granted, this last year is really kind of shitty, everything that was going on with him. So I mean, sad to see him go, but at the same time, his troubles, I think are kind of over now, which is good. But he's going to be missed too. I mean, he did a lot of good stuff. He also did some, questionable stuff too. And now we go on both ends of this, and like any human being does. So
Yeah, you live 95 years and don't make mistakes. Nobody's going to do that. So you live longer, you have more opportunities to make mistakes. What about you, Susan?
I think, he'll definitely be missed. What I liked about him was, and I included this in the article I wrote, was I really liked what he had to say in his one soapbox, and how when he had something he was passionate about and worked it into his comics and into his art, it didn't hit you over the head, but it made its point. And it was one of those things that, are very, that we're sorely lacking nowadays. And like to Dennis's point, he was 95. He lived a good life. We don't like to see our heroes go. We never like that. It's, but the older that people get, the more we need to expect that, prepare for it. And it's just a shame that his final years were marred with, allegations of elder abuse and all of the things that went on with him, and hopefully those will be overshadowed by the achievements that he had. And to me, I think, the best allegory for it is he's now in Elysian Fields where he belongs.
Nice. And listen, his death, his impact on his industry is bigger than the Beatles, bigger than Elvis. It's a Shakespeare. Whether he co-created a lot of characters. Did he take too much credit? Sure. We already talked about that, but he also put himself out there. He also did what others would not do. He was a salesman out there daily, putting himself out there for comic books when nobody would do that. Bob Kane tried it later on, couldn't do it because he didn't have the personality Stan had. So
in order to do that, you have to be very charismatic.
You have to be P.T. Barnum.
Like P.T. Barnum, exactly, Dennis. You have to have some charisma about you, and Stan Lee, he definitely had it.
And Mako makes a good point. I mean, we did lose Steve Ditko this year as well. It was kind of a 1-2 punch. So, I mean, it was, and again, Steve Ditko was 93, I believe, when he passed. But he was more reclusive. I honestly didn't realize he was still alive because he was so reclusive, and he was doing artwork through the mail, which was kind of interesting. I didn't know this, that, you'd send him some money and he would do a piece of original artwork for you and send it to you. It was very weird.
Yeah. And apparently he was like incredibly honest about it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like that is hard to find these days, especially if you give somebody money up front, and like the guy made good every time. That was a big deal for him. He's a man, very principled man who unfortunately died alone, and it was sad. It was very sad. But poor Steve Ditko. And $4.99 for Movie Finobi. Hello to Feisty, who got stuck working tonight. Special hello to Sculpted Leather Girlfriend, who's resting tonight. Won't make it. High honors. She's still high honors to you, Movie Finobi. And yes, sorry, Feisty was supposed to review Grindelwald with me tonight, but she got called into work, and she is a dedicated worker. So working in her comic shop at undisclosed location. What about the new Spider-Man animation universe crossover Nerdrotic channel? The trailer is playing a lot during football games, says Hidden Wiki. The Into the Spider-Verse looks good. And I think that's it. I think that's going to be trouble for the MCU. I think it's big trouble for the MCU.
Quite honestly, I'm glad they brought Peter Porker Spider-Ham into it. One of my favorites. I mean, yeah.
It looks good, and Venom was a hit, and that's a problem for the MCU. Straight up. God dang Avi Arad. We were almost rid of him. But you know what? His point got proved. Venom is very popular with the kids, and he's right. Right. Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed about that myself. And also we have Morbius. God. It's going to be.
It's in production right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not going to be any Venom. Popula Suprema says Doctor Who times Torchwood. Bring back Jack. Hell yeah, bring back Jack. And when I talk about Doctor Who a little bit later, I'll tell you that I think they will. I think that's happening within the next calendar year. Into the Spider-Verse looks promising. It looks very promising, Jody.
Well, what we saw after Venom, if you stayed till after Venom, you got a scene from Into the Spider-Verse, which was awesome. It was a great scene.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and it was funny and well done too. I mean, just exciting, funny, well done, and the animation was awesome. It looked really, really good. Yeah,
it looks solid as hell.
Yeah,
solid as hell. So let's get to some news before we get to the big stuff. Just pick something, man.
I will say, you know what? Let's get this out of the way. Why not? So Pedro Pascal is going to play the lead in The Mandalorian for D+ or Disney Plus or whatever it's being called this week.
And who else is going to be in it?
Also, Gina Carano, who's one of my favorites. I like her. Yeah,
I like Pedro too. I think it's good casting.
I think it's good casting. Yeah, I like Pedro. I loved him in Kingsman: Golden Circle. He was awesome as Whiskey. Was it or
Whiskey? Yep.
Whiskey. Yeah, that's right. He did a good job in that. And Gina Carano, loved her in Deadpool when she
was great.
Yeah, I even loved her in Haywire. You know, the Steven Soderbergh movie.
She was in Almost Human too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? The show might be good. Is it good enough for me to be a Star Wars fan again? No. It's good. I think that's done. I think I'm done. So, no. I did. Can Jack Harkness save SJW Doctor Who? I don't think so, but they'll try. They'll try.
And I don't know if he's going to be on Doctor Who. From what I understand, Barrowman was talking about that. He was in talks with the BBC, and I think they might be bringing Torchwood back. Tell you the truth, I don't think they're doing.
They might cross it over, but I think you're right. I think they're just going to go full on bringing the Torchwood back.
He's also in talks to coming back to Arrow.
Yeah, he actually is coming back to Arrow. He already announced that he is. Yeah, I believe he's coming back for the Elseworlds episode. That's where he's coming back in.
Yeah.
Well, and the great thing about these shows that do the 13 episode seasons we've talked about is it allows the actor to do multiple shows, shoot a movie. That's why we're getting, great actors on Netflix movies and, J.K. Simmons. We'll talk about that later in multiple things. And yeah, it's cool. I like it. And I think Mark Lurseth, how's it going? I think Torchwood could be good. I think we might get our first solid good first season of Torchwood. I mean, we've had inconsistent good Torchwood in the past. I like the idea of it, but it's never really knocked it out of the park. Children of Earth, that's a good. I mean, it's dark though, man. Whew. Oh, what an ending.
Yeah, it is really dark. Yeah, I never really dug Torchwood myself. It just never really did anything for me. I know there's a lot of people that really love it. It just didn't hit me that way. So, and yeah, Jody, I agree with you. Gina was more Amazonian than Gal Gadot. That's who I wanted to be Wonder Woman as well. But yeah, everyone didn't like her. So, hey, whatever. So Gal Gadot did a good job.
She did.
So
maybe Gina would have been a better Captain Marvel,
She might have. Yeah.
Put some blonde hair on her and go.
I could see that. Yeah. Even keep her with the brunette. You don't
need to... she could be brunette. Linda Carter was.
Marcus Kahn, what's up? How's it going? Welcome. Torchwood rumor news. He has mentioned it in interviews. All depends on the IP owners, which is the BBC. The BBC is kind of laying in wait, but I think they'll do it. DJD show. I mean, especially look at the shows they're bringing back. It's better than most of the shows they're bringing back. So at least the concept is. I think somebody else should run it, but we'll see.
Yeah, someone else should definitely run this. Someone with actually some talent. I mean, some writing experience. I mean, some,
Yeah, well, and then I think about it going to the BBC, and maybe they couldn't bring it back. Maybe they should just current year BBC, maybe not. Maybe we just keep it dead.
They can put it over on CW. How about that?
Isn't that what they were talking? He said it in DJ D show. You might have saw that too. He was talking about like maybe getting another production house to make it.
Yeah,
and BBC would still, own it, but getting somebody else to make it.
They were talking about Netflix, if I remember correctly. It was Netflix or Hulu.
That would be good.
Yeah, that would be the smart thing to do, considering that BBC does have a good relationship with Netflix at the moment. So why not?
And they're smart. Don't piss off Netflix because they are the big dog right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and
700 new things this year. Over 700 new shows this year.
2018? Or
2018.
Year? Okay.
2018, yes, this year.
We don't know about next year yet, which is probably going to be 1,000.
Yeah.
AMC too is stepping up their game with streaming. So they're not going to as prolific as Netflix, but they're getting to be a platform that people are looking at now for different types of shows.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if a network can sell itself. I mean, it depends on who the parent is, and there's so many parents but I wonder if there's like some weird self-owned network that can just go, hey, buy us, and just buy the whole goddamn network. I'm surprised. We heard a bunch of rumors that Apple was going to buy Sony or something like that. I'm surprised that hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, no, they're doing their own thing now. I've been reading all kinds of weird shit going on with Apple. They keep bouncing back and forth. They're hiring a ton of talent, and they're being very secretive because it's Apple. But yeah, they're going to put together their own streaming service, which people have been bagging on within the Apple company itself.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah. And we've talked about it before on one of the Friday night podcasts a while back, but I'm not holding out too much hope until I see something. I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to become a production company, Apple, and they're going to sell their stuff to Netflix and Hulu.
That sounds very probable.
Yeah.
Yep. Operation Sky Pebbles. Bring back Yanto and Toshiko. Sorry. They with Captain Jack had great chemistry, and they absolutely did. And I mean, like, it's in the Doctor Who universe, so yeah, you could bring him back. Why not? Do some timey-wimey or wimey-timey or whatever you want to call it.
Timey-wimey.
Well, wimey-timey, and I just wanted to do it opposite because it's Torchwood, and Torchwood's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to be the rated R Doctor Who. So, yeah, I would dig it. I'm there. We would cover every episode. Can't fucking wait. Tamarocks. Hail Tamarocks. What is up? Sorry, that was my Doomcock impression. Have to run for work, but wanted to donate to the tip jar. Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Wow, thanks.
Damn.
I really appreciate it. Have a good time. Why are you working so late? Or are you in some place where it's the daytime right now? I have no idea.
I believe, yeah.
Rocks.
Have fun at work as much as you can. Check us out later. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Sorry, I was just reading some of the chat there.
Go for it. Read it.
Yeah, Carrie Dalton says, feel like Apple has been really directionless. I don't trust Tim Cook to make the right decisions. Exactly. They lost a bunch of money this time around. They've in this last week. And I really don't see them starting their own streaming service. Someone else is actually talking about iTunes. There we go. Mike Cedar says iTunes for streaming TV, or steaming TV, as he put it. Yeah, I don't see that happening either. I don't know anybody who uses iTunes anymore unless they actually have to.
They've been talking about doing things, it seems like, Dennis, for like 2 years now. And we haven't seen any fruits of their labor. We keep hearing rumblings that they've signed on to, no disrespect to these people, like second tier stars that we may have heard of, may have not heard of. They try to amp it up in like the trades, and then there's nothing. There's no production notes or anything going on. So
it just goes out to the ether. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. I mean, should Apple and AT&T, should they really be looking into entertainment, or should they, like you suggest, maybe just kind of shepherd things to other areas like networks and Netflix and like Hulu and stuff, and let the entertainment divisions figure it out?
See, Hulu actually already does this where they have channels for different, like your History Channel, all that kind of stuff within Hulu itself. And I can see Hulu actually setting up tiers. You get you access to so many channels. You get to pick and choose whatever you want. Like you get 5 for the $8.
Like Sling or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd hate that.
I'd hate that too, but at the same time, it beats having all these multiple streaming services where you're paying $8 here, $10 there, and then it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I'm not going to watch any of it then. I'm going to stick with Netflix or I'm going to stick with Hulu, and that's it.
Yeah, because they're asking us to do a lot of work. All right, so I pay attention, so I jump in and out of stuff. When I'm done watching a series on a streaming service, I quit the streaming service and then I sign back up later, get my free month. And as long as they're letting me do that, I'm going to do that. And I save a ton of money that way. That's how you do it. But it is a ton of work. And you say, a ton of work. Well, yeah, you got to sit down and remember to, okay, I'm like, when the show's over, right when you watch the last episode, you cancel right then and there. And if you don't, you're going to forget about it. And most people do because they're busy, and that's what they count on. They absolutely. That, it's like the phone company when you used to put a quarter in the payphone, but the call was only 20 cents and they never gave you 5 cents back. Well, I mean, that's the same thing. They're counting on you to forget. It's probably fixed in their budget. Like 18% of all customers are going to forget and just let it roll over. And that's the stuff you got to fight. It's kind of on us, but I don't. That's not going to work though, man. I freaking, I use Sling because it's good for for East Coast time zones for us, but that's it. That's the only thing I use it for.
Exactly. And it's even better if you're in Hawaii too, because you have the other 3-hour difference. So you can actually watch shit in the afternoon and then have your evening.
And you're in Hawaii. So, I miss Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii's nice.
I want to go back.
I miss my second home in Hawaii.
Hey, can we stay there?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Sure.
Oh, Susan's super rich, everybody, by the way.
Yeah.
Just kidding. If Rich is busy as fuck and smart as hell, then you're rich. Okay. So there you
go. DJ Bowman says, like that commercial says, I want my money now. Yeah, exactly. Payphones, how old are you? Rob McCarthy says. Older than dirt.
Robert, you know how old I am.
Here we go.
Yeah, dirt. Oh my God, what did I want?
Hey, I remember rotary phones. So yeah, and when I first learned how to drive when I was 16, I had to crank it.
Yeah, I just used my feet to start
the
Flintstones. Yeah. That's what I was. We're gonna go. We're also doing a little bit of woo woo tonight later because Susan was so smart and did the UFOs over Ireland article, and I know I talked about it Wednesday, but we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight. I actually talked about it way too much on Wednesday. I think the last hour turned into the woo woo.
Well, you missed the woo woo I sent you, I think, earlier.
I saw it earlier. I was like, I can't go down a rabbit hole before we start a Friday night tights, man. That's for afterwards.
I sent him this thing and I said, put on your tinfoil hat and call me Xenu.
Yeah. Oh man. So what else we got, Dennis?
So what else we've got is, Swamp Thing is production right now.
Yep.
And it's going to go until May of 2019, which I thought was kind of interesting that they're going to go in production for that long. That is 7 months.
Wow, that's almost as long as they went into the Venom, the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, maybe they won't be out right after Doom Patrol then, because the Doom Patrol is going to start in January, I think.
Yes, Doom Patrol. Basically, as soon as Titans ends, the next week, Doom Patrol starts.
Okay, and then Swamp Thing's supposed to start after that.
I think actually it's going to be
Harley Quinn.
Young Teen Titans, the
Young Justice.
Young Justice. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that works.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I'm totally okay with that.
Because Young Justice is January 4th.
Silhouetted Animator, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Hulu ordered a pilot for Sweet Tooth adaptation, and that is on our news docket today. We will get to that. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Silhouetted Animator is always on top of that shit. That's awesome.
Yes. So we might as well just get to that. Why not? We'll get to the Sweet Tooth news. So Sweet Tooth is a comic from Jim Mickey and Team Downey. If you don't know who Team Downey is, that is Robert Downey Jr. and his wife. Yeah. And they received a pilot order from Hulu to have this done. It's actually a DC Vertigo comic of a boy he's a teenage boy with deer antlers on his head. And he leaves his town, his kind of isolated town. And it turns out that he might be in a post-apocalyptic world. And
what, with the deer antlers on his head? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, really. So it's very odd. It was very popular. I believe this was like the last couple of years you were in the store, right, Gary, that this came out?
Yeah, was it around when did it come out in 2013? It might have been at the tail end.
It was at the tail end.
Yeah. I remember it vaguely. I know it sells very well for, basically an indie book,
really.
It's DC Vertigo, but it still sells like really well. It's on top 10 lists everywhere. And I think it's a good move. And I love Team Downey there. Kind of a fan of that.
Well, Jim Mickle did Happen Leonard, and that's was kind of like a beat off Plum. So, I mean, I think he's a natural, and I have to give it to them. It's an original story. It's not like anything you've ever seen before. And we're starting to see a little more of that now. Coming to, like we've always said, the streaming services. We're seeing a lot of things that are giving me faith that maybe these small pockets of writers and directors that are doing these shows, maybe they're going to be the renaissance that we need eventually, but it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Mako says it's a very sad story about this young boy who lives in a post-apocalyptic future where the intelligent talking animals are born instead of human babies.
Cool.
Wow.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to read it. Yeah, it's I couldn't read everything in the comic store, especially that last year. That was it was wise of my last year there.
Yeah.
Everything I've heard about this, Feisty's talked about it. It's good. Look at that. They're talking about Buster Scruggs on the top there. Oh, we'll be talking about that later, or I will be anyway. That's good news, though. That's good news. More comic books being made. We're in the middle of a TV renaissance right now. Right now, this is like a golden age of television. Where, we cover. I believe we cover all the good shows. So, and there's a lot out there. Once in a while I get some shit for being negative on a show, but the vast majority of the stuff we cover is great. Counterpart being one of them, which is coming up in a few short weeks. And sometimes we find a little gem like that Origin TV show on YouTube. I mean, it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it was pretty good. I was entertained. So, we might be doing a full season review on that one. I want to wait till you check it out and see what you think of it. But, there's a lot of good stuff out there. It's just, unfortunately, not the stuff we've loved for years and years and years. It's, Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek are in the crapper.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you try and resurrect nostalgic shows. Usually it's kind of like Pet Sematary. Things do not come out right the way they're supposed to.
Great point.
Well, what you said is an oxymoron. You shouldn't try to resurrect nostalgia. And I'm not saying we can't be inventive, but if you're going to take these shows, you need to have a certain reverence for them. You need to be a historian and a caretaker. Mm-hmm. And you need to take them in different directions, but within those guidelines. Doesn't mean you can't straddle them. It's just like you have to make it a recognizable show within that universe that people will accept. You can't just jump in with both feet and just change things around and expect people to dig what you're doing. It doesn't work like that.
Populi Suprema says, where's the Blake 7 and Space 1999 reboot? Those were not popular. Populi Suprema. I'm sorry to tell you.
Enough.
They were,
I would say enough here in the States.
I'm not talking about, I take that back. Let me roll it back a little bit, okay? They were not as popular as Star Trek and Star Wars. They didn't have that huge of an audience. They did have an audience, a good sized audience, but not enough where you have these coked out executives going, you know what? I want something exactly like Star Trek from the 1960s. Let's remake that. But in today's universe.
Yeah. Just real quick, hidden wiki. When I say indie book, yes, Vertigo is an indie book. It's an indie book. And now my perspective on indie might be different than yours because I'm old. So indie books are not mainstream superhero. They could have a big company behind it, but like Marvel Icon, those are indie books. It's still made by Marvel, but Powers is an indie book. And it's independent, meaning it's independently owned. And it's creator owned. It's indie. It doesn't matter if it's got a DC label on it or not. What's not indie is Spider-Man and Superman and stuff like that.
Yep,
and
those are
most Image are indie books. Maybe not Spawn. I wouldn't call Spawn an indie book, but like Sweet Tooth, I would call an indie book. Yeah.
And exactly, Mike Cedar, Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who are all trying to rewrite the nostalgia, not bring it back. And that's exactly it. And I'm not trying to, piss off any Blake 7 fans out there. I know it was huge in England. I remember when it came out, actually, because they used to play it on PBS. That's when they used to play all that stuff over here when I was in my teens, I believe. And I saw Blake 7 on PBS when it came out at the time. It just didn't have a huge following. I mean, nerds like me knew of it, over here, but it wasn't as big over here as it was over in Great Britain.
I think Space 1999 might have been a bit bigger than Blake's because we used to get the ITV feed. I don't know why, but we got it, and I used to love Space 1999. I thought
I did too. Yeah. I used to actually have the ship. Yeah, when I was a kid. I swear to God, my mom got rid of a lot of shit when we moved from San Francisco to the East Bay. And I mean, I had the original X-Wing, original Luke, Obi-Wan, Darth Vader.
A lot of money.
Yeah, shit that's worth thousands of dollars now. Yeah. All disappeared.
Blake 7 is not. I mean, I've seen it like in snippets. It's not something I'm super aware of. Space 1999, I loved that show, and I'm glad. It's a good thing that they haven't fucked with it. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's
but remain pure. Though? That's an opportunity, though, you guys. I mean, I'm not saying let's do this because no, but Space 1999 could be one of those shows that could do well being redone. Because not many people knew of it. In England.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I don't want remakes anymore of anything. There's so much shit out there that could be made into. I mean, Harry Harrison. I say this all the time. There's the Stainless Steel Rat series about a cat burglar, an intergalactic cat burglar. And it was a really cool series of books. They could easily do a series on this, a TV series on it, and it wouldn't cost a shitload of money. And it's sci-fi.
You know what? Look into optioning it. I'm being totally serious. To option it, look at adapting it, and work with whomever the writer is. Because if
He's
it's
dead.
not, oh shit! Well, his estate, because those type of indie books, like what Gary's talking about, they're the people that you can do things like that with, work with them, take those projects to a producer, and get your name out there. That's not unheard of. That is something that can be done.
Fickle actually knows who I'm talking about. Slippery Jim DeGriz is his name. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So Mr. B Natural says the two leads of Space 1999 don't speak to each other after all this time.
Well, Martin's dead. That would be a
yeah. I was gonna say they can't.
kind of hard to do. Yeah, when one of them's dead. So
he was great in the X-Files movie.
And also, there's a great book, another Harry Harrison book that's out there that is the Intergalactic Hero, Bill the Intergalactic Hero, which so background on a little bit on Harry Harrison. He was in World War II in the Army, hated it, of course. And he used that experience to do a parody of an intergalactic army. Everything goes wrong. And kind of like Heinlein, he was actually a friend of Heinlein until he wrote this book. He wrote it as a parody of Heinlein's books. Pissed Heinlein off big time. I mean, super big time, to the point where Heinlein didn't want to talk to him anymore, and created a pretty good selling series. I mean, Bill at one point gets his arm torn off, one of his arms torn off. I believe it's his right arm, and they put another left arm on. So he's got two left arms because it's the army, it's incompetent kind of thing. And I mean, there's also dual use toilet paper. So it's toilet paper on one side, sandpaper on the other. And they said, oh, woe be the trooper that got up in the morning and used the wrong side of the toilet paper. Things like that, man. You could easily make a series that could do that. And
yeah, there's tons of stuff out there. Yeah, they don't need to be rebooting anything. There's plenty of books and comic books to adapt. Yeah, there's no shortage of ideas or stories. I think that's kind of been the point I've been trying to make for a couple of weeks now, that for a writer to come out and said they've run out of ideas, they were forced to say that because they don't want to say the real reason. No writer with any nads would ever say that. So I love a Netflix series based around the Deathgate cycle. What's that? Steele Johnson gave us a super chat, Dennis.
Oh, I didn't even see that. There we go. Steele Johnson, 420. Grendel, Warchild. Read it. Great cover art, too. Yes. That is a great book.
Yes, we love Matt Wagner. And Grendel's the shit, man. Yeah. I mean, the 80s and 90s were just sweet spot for comics. The early 90s. Yeah, so good. I'm appreciating the 90s more than I did probably in the 90s. As a matter of fact, I hated pretty much everything in the 90s, but I was also in my 20s.
Yeah, in your 20s, you're all, I know exactly what I was in the same boat, man. Yeah, you're very, go ahead, Susan.
No, I was just going to say the 90s were, to me, I think like a cultural renaissance in terms of geek culture, like with comic books and movies. I tend to look back on the 80s and 90s with, great fondness because of the sheer amount of talent, music, what have you. You that's when you wax nostalgic for things, but realize that, like you guys said, you can't recreate those lightning in a bottle moments.
Yeah, you need to move on and create new stuff.
Yeah.
And like Mako says too, read more books, people. Books are greater than TV shows, greater than movies when it comes to complex, smart storytelling. You have audiobooks too now, so you can listen while you drive / exercise. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I would say what comic books are better, but that's me. A little quicker. Audiobooks are great. I'm a big fan of audiobooks. Huge fan of audiobooks.
There's a great book that I just heard about. It's based on a true story called The Poison Squad. If you ever want to know where all these regulations came about for your food and stuff like that, it came about from these guys that actually sat around and ate different food, because back in the day, like in the early 1900s, when you got, alcohol, it was mixed in with other shit. Like you had all kinds of
USDA back then.
Yeah, there was no USDA.
Yeah, opiates and yes.
Yeah, sawdust. Floor shavings. Yeah.
Nice.
Filler.
Oh,
Yeah. They were cutting your food, basically.
Yeah. Your bread. Your bread had sawdust.
Marcus Kahn. Gary, do you really remember the 90s? I do. I do. My drug period was the 80s, early 90s. So I remember most of the 90s. I do.
Carrie Dalton, you bring up a good point. Since Dennis is bringing up food, surprised we haven't gotten a Chew series yet. They were working on it on Hulu, and I heard that it was in production. Then it disappeared. Never heard anything about it again.
Yeah, that one's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is going to be really tough because if you're
because iZombie that's what everybody's probably saying to the person. I mean, even though they're totally two different stories, but they're very similar in one aspect, and that's what all the executive producers are going to say. Isn't that iZombie?
Yep.
And that's as far as it goes. So it'll be a while till you see Chew.
Yeah. And yeah, I actually had to stop reading Chew because it was making me sick, whenever I read it. So
Stargate, Popula Suprema. I never watched the Stargate show. I just didn't. Back when Stargate was on, I'd watch Battlestar Galactica and then go do my thing because I was running the comic shop, so I wasn't watching a ton of TV. That's something we're gonna Stargate and Babylon 5 or something. I'm gonna catch up on next year.
Yeah, Stargate was a lot of fun. I mean, the whole Wizard of Oz references in every single episode, which is pretty damn funny.
Graffader says B7 spawned Farscape, Lex, and kind of Babylon 5 Crusade. Farscape and Lex and B5 were shown here on TV, but I never heard of B7 until I got into the internets into the late 2000s. Says Graffader. I heard it's the precursor for all those shows.
Yeah, it is a precursor for a lot of things. And awesome. Like I said, it was really big on PBS here, along with Doctor Who, because Doctor Who was on PBS around that same time here in the States, and The Prisoner reruns when they were doing that too. Remember that, Gary?
Yes.
On PBS.
Oh, yes. PBS was awesome, but they would show stuff not out of order, but I wouldn't watch it every week. So, yeah. I mean, if you missed an episode of The Prison, that's why I remember seeing it, and I was young. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. Then one time I dropped a hit of acid and watched The Prisoner, and it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw, even though I had no idea what's going on.
Yeah, Patrick McGowan, man, he was one creative person.
I love that guy. God, yeah. I'm so sorry he's gone.
Yeah.
Hollywood hates the military, though. They mostly do. They're not fans. Sarah Silverman, not a fan. Bottle Rocket.
Yeah, Bottle Rocket. It's a movie.
Yeah. Red Dwarf. That was on PBS as well. It was. Yes.
Yep. Red Dwarf was on. Actually, it was a back-to-back Red Dwarf and Blake 7. Yeah, I think it was Blake 7's and then Red Dwarf. That's what it was.
Monty Python and Faulty Towers were on. I always watched those. Now PBS would not show Benny Hill, so Benny Hill was the one show that was syndicated on other channel.
It used to be on Channel 2 up there in the Bay Area at like midnight, 12:30 in the morning, something like that. Yeah, so you
still got Channel 13 from LA down there. That's what used to show Benny Hill, Channel 13.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't get the antenna stuff anymore.
He gets rabbit ears, man. Love The Prisoner. Yeah, The Prisoner is on Amazon Prime right now, guys. So
yeah, I got to go back and watch that. That was some good stuff, man.
I heard it on I think Doomcock mentioned it on one of his streams, and I started watching it and I bailed out on the stream and just started watching Prisoner. I was like, I couldn't stop. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good shit. Good shit. And I also there's also those artist edition. There's an artist edition. I'm not going to reach it right now. Of Jack Kirby did a comic of The Prisoner. Jack Kirby and Gil Kane and Steve Englehart.
Wow.
Oh fuck, so good.
Mike Cedar says, "K, watching Prisoner now."
All right, you're forgiven, man. You're forgiven. Be a video later. Jeez.
So you want to talk about the Crimes of Grindelwald now?
Yeah. Okay, let's do that real quick. Crimes of Grindelwald. So I got to get my What did I just do with it? My spoiler paddle. Okay, so
did you have it someplace special?
I did, but I'm not going to tell you, big boy. Spoiler
Oh.
alert. Okay, I am going to be spoiling the end of the Crimes of Grindelwald. You've probably heard by now, but I'm going to be saving you a lot of time. Okay. So yes, I don't look like your typical Harry Potter fan, but I am. All right, I got into Harry Potter.
He's more of like a Harry Potter fan on like his mom's side.
Oh my God.
Which mom, dude? You know I have two.
So, both of them.
There you go. So I got into Harry Potter from audiobooks, and I was living in LA, and I was working in LA and living in San Francisco. So I was splitting time between cities, and I was driving. So yes, I was for 1 year straight. I drove all but one weekend back and forth from LA to San Francisco. So I listened to a lot of audiobooks, got into Harry Potter, and then my kids got into it. We got it in the movies, and we were fans. So I know the lore. I know what's up with Harry Potter. But then once the movies were over, I kind of dipped out. I was done. Like I didn't pay attention to J.K. Rowling's tweets or what was going on. I read the book. I forgot. It was so forgettable. I forgot the name of the play. It was really bad, and then I started noticing like J.K. Rowling's tweets, and she started changing history from the book. So I'm just like, I'm going to completely ignore her, because imagine if like J.R.R. Tolkien had a Twitter account and just started fucking with Lord of the Rings, and yeah, some people could say the Silmarillions like that, but it's not. Okay, that's solid. So the Crimes of Grindelwald, I guess it's a different universe from the books. That's fine. But now, you guys ready for this? Are your ears plugged? Because I'm about to, again, I'll even throw up the paddle. I'm going to throw it again. Okay, so Dumbledore, they pulled a Star Trek Discovery, for fuck's sake. So Dumbledore, we know, has a brother named Aberforth. Well, apparently he's got another brother. He's got another younger brother. And the circumstances in the movie. So the movie is a series of events that are not connected because they decided what happened was it must have been a 3-hour movie that Warner Brothers went, this has got to be 2 hours and some change. And they went in with just a hatchet last minute and cut there are scenes where there are people talking in a room. And yes, I know wizards can disapparate and everything, but they usually show it. And they're like, oh, I heard a monster upside. And all of a sudden they're up in the street. They're from a room and all of a sudden they're just there. And they don't show the apparition or anything. And that happens multiple times to where my wife and the people we were with, my friend Tim, were like, how did that happen? And all of a sudden another character would walk in who was not with them earlier. And you're like, how did he get there? And I was asking that all the time. So the story centers around a prophecy that they don't read to you until the very end. So first rule of story writing, if you're going to have anything go around a prophecy, you got to tell us the goddamn prophecy. Because if you keep referring to a prophecy we've never fucking heard of, it's just the prophecy. I'm like, what are they talking about? I don't care about this. And the prophecy, and I still am not clear on it. They read it so fast at the end, I can't even repeat it to you. It's got something to do with a brother and a sister, and one thinks the brother's dead and the other one's alive, and then they're going to get back together and they're going to make some perfect something and cause shit. And then we have Johnny Depp running around being bad, and he's pretty good. Jude Law was pretty good as Dumbledore, who sent Newt Scamander on another mission. Newt Scamander mumbles through the entire movie again. Lenny Kravitz's daughter plays a character who dies, and we're supposed to care, and we don't, because and when they show, okay, so her death is supposed to be impactful based on a 2-minute flashback they showed. That's the most characterization she's had in 2 films. They showed that she was people were mean to her in school, so we should now be sad that she died. Okay. All right, fine. And then at the end, we go through all this, and Ezra Miller's character, who I can't even remember the name of because they said it like twice in the movie, so I can't remember it. He's the one. He is trying to find out his parents. They send him, and Grindelwald is trying to lure him in because he's the only one who can kill Dumbledore. They do mention the relationship between Grindelwald and Dumbledore in a little bit of, in the mirror, basically. And it looks like they got the 2 actors who were the same ones, the young ones from Deathly Hallows, which is fine. But yeah, I can't even tell you really what this was about, because it wasn't about anything. It was about a prophecy, getting Ezra Miller to Grindelwald, which they did because he's the only one who could kill Dumbledore because he's his brother. How? They don't explain. This comes out of nowhere. He looks nothing like Dumbledore. What parent did he come from? Dumbledore's parents have been dead for a while because the little sister killed them. And how could this? I mean, like, how long has it been since? Like, the time doesn't match up. Nothing matches up. And forget like the fact that Mrs. McGonagall, I don't think she was supposed to be in the school at that time. I can't remember. I think they, I don't think that was right too.
Yeah, actually, someone says she was 35 years old, 8 years before she was born. Mr. B. Natural said that.
Yeah, like what the hell was she doing there? And so yeah, so the parents. So Jude Law is older than me, 53, 52. So if he's playing a 52-year-old Dumbledore, when the little sister had killed the parents, it was like 30 years ago. Ezra Miller is that his name? Ezra Miller, the guy who played the Flash. Am I saying his name right?
Ezra Miller.
Yeah. He's not 30. So none of the time matches up. It makes no sense. They're supposed to be doing 5 of these movies. And now that we hear that Newt Scamander is probably not going to survive all of them, like he's not even going to be in the last 2. J.K. Rowling wrote the script for this. She's not good. And this goes into the Neil Gaiman argument. And it's like, she writes great Harry Potter books. I tried to read her other one, and I could not get through it at all. I just could not. It was not good. And I think really she's maybe lost her touch. That happens when you
get a lot of money
when you get $1 billion. Yeah, you like lose your edge. Great art a lot of times comes from pain and strife, or
hunger.
You got to be like into it. Yeah, it's rich people can still produce, believe me, because they have this competitive gene. They have to like go out and still create, and just the creative gene. Like I can't, like true artists, it doesn't matter how rich they are, they need to be constantly creating. They're manic about it. Yeah, this movie was not good at all. I wouldn't recommend anybody pay any kind of money to go see it. This franchise is just a payday for Warner Brothers. It doesn't add, it subtracts from the Harry Potter world, which was pretty well done. And kind of like I was good with it being done forever. Again, and I remember J.K. Rowling coming out and saying basically she was talking about referring to the Star Wars prequels and how they're inherently tragedies and you really shouldn't do prequels. And I think they were asking her about the Marauders, which I hope she never ever touches. And that sucks. But if you think about the rules of canon, which are if the creator changes it, then it's canon. Then I mean we can't really say anything because the creator changed it no matter what. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know if that's going to go down in the books now. It did feel like there was a good story in there, but it would have been a good book, not a good movie, maybe. So there were some fun bits in it, but it was like super heavily CG'd. Some of the creatures were kind of the best bit, and they were the most annoying bit about the first movie. The first movie was just meh to me. It wasn't terrible. What's his name now? Dan Fogler. The guy who was in Fanboys.
Yeah, Dan Fogel.
Dan Fogel. Sorry, man.
He's actually a writer. He's a really good writer.
No, he wrote a comic. He was with Derek at Comic-Con when we were there. And his comic is actually really good. No, I liked him, and he remains to the best thing. He was the best thing in the last movie. He was the best thing in this movie. But he, and put in the best performance. And there was the one thing J.K. Rowling does do well. As I mentioned, she does know how to write women. The women were complex and good, but they were also, they all turned bad. All the good ones turned bad, which I kind of liked. So
DJ Bowman says maybe the conspiracy is true. She never wrote the books. Some secret government did. Laugh out loud. Actually, The Simpsons did a whole thing on this where people collaborate together and write young children's or young adult novels, if you will, like that, and then they get a spokesperson, if you will, and use them as the ghost author and put their face on the cover.
Wow.
Everybody drank. Old man Dennis did a Simpsons reference. Cheers.
Wow.
Yeah, making an episode with that one. So as far as the conspiracy of her not writing the books, I have heard that. And it's the same thing with Shakespeare, right? Shakespeare didn't write any of his stuff. It was somebody else. Yeah. If she keeps putting out stuff like this, I'm going to wonder. I'm just going to say I'm going to wonder. But yeah. Old man yells at Cloud, Matlock. Yeah, it was don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. I say much better movie tonight. And we'll talk about later. That you can all watch on Netflix, and I highly recommend you do because it's fucking good. Called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs. So speaking of weird things that take a little while to come out with some writers who are questionable, George R.R. Martin has a sci-fi series, a superhero series, if you will, of books called Wild Cards, which he really, really loves. I mean, really loves. It's going to get at least 2 series over at Hulu.
I mean, it potentially could be a good show. I never got into those books. I tried. He edits them, so he doesn't he doesn't write them. He edits those books. And it's really been his prime distraction from Winds of Winter and Game of Thrones, of many distractions. Yeah, I mean. For one, that with streaming services, I'm finding out that the 2 series order is kind of becoming a thing. Like we're going to start seeing that a lot with people who have, George R. R. Martin's got juice, so he can come in and go, if you want my show, you got to get 2 seasons. That's going to start happening.
2 series, no, 2 separate series.
2 separate series. Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because his books had multiple,
they're
focused.
So that's interesting. Yeah. Well, again, he's got the juice to do that. So
yeah,
there you go.
And they said at least 2 separate series, so there could be more. We don't know.
It could be good as a show. Universe. What was that?
They want a universe.
Yeah.
It could be good as a TV show. It could be well adapted.
Yeah,
I'm interested in this.
I still say Rising Stars, man. They should have gotten Rising Stars and put it on Hulu.
Heroes beat it. I mean, it sucks, but Heroes ripped off Rising Stars.
Yeah.
So any executive producer would go, "Isn't that Heroes?" And without, that's what we have to deal with, folks.
Yeah. Thank you, Steele Johnson, for the $2. For Hans Molman, I love my man getting hit by a football. I love man getting hit by football. Okay, there we go.
Silver Scott says, my favorite R.R. Martin books are the Tufts Voyage series written back when he was hungry. I need to go back and read some of his, what's it called? The Thousand Worlds stuff. All his sci-fi stuff that's supposed to be loosely connected, or it is according to, God, what's the YouTuber's name now? I'm forgetting his name. Preston Johnson. Yeah, Preston Johnson calls it the Thousand Worlds. And some of those, I mean, a lot of Game of Thrones and a lot of Song of Ice and Fire has little snippets from all his past books, which is interesting.
Well, there's also some new news, isn't there, on Winds of Winter?
Yes. Okay, so we got a Game of Thrones release date, which we predicted and everybody else did, which is going to be in April. My guess is I'll agree with Charlie Streams on this one, and 4/28. I believe is when it's going to start. We will be getting a trailer very, 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 very soon, like maybe by Thanksgiving. Movie Phenobia, $1.99. Good night, beautiful nerds. Dentist, read my last one. Did we miss one?
Did we miss one?
We did miss one. Bus Wankers.
I saw the Bus Wankers. Yeah, the Bus Wankers. That is all. Thank you, Movie Phenobia, for the $1.99. That was when you were doing your Grindelwald. That's why I missed it. Because I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
Well, I gotta make sure we didn't miss any more. Hang on.
No, I think that was it.
Okay, yeah, I'm just double checking. Yeah. I've got a list right here. I can check.
Yeah.
Good night, Phonobi. It's good to see you.
Good night.
So Game of Thrones, yeah, it's gonna be in April, and I am looking forward to it. I'm gonna go rewatch season 7 to see because I've only watched it once. I was pretty hard on it. I still think the time travel thing kind of pissed me off, but maybe I was too hard on it. I'm a huge fan of the books. I remain a fan of the books. That is never going to change. Turns out I was going to do not get Fire and Blood, as a protest, but then Mrs. Neurotic went and bought me the damn book. So it's going to be here Tuesday. So I guess I might as well look at it, maybe do a video on it. But yes, so the Winds of Winter news was very interesting. We get this kind of news a lot, but when they start getting translators, a lot of the old rumors were based on translators. Now, translators will work on pieces of books and parts of books forever, so they're not like super reliable as far as release dates are concerned. But when you commission artists to do covers, it is. So they just an artist, I forgot his name now, just blabbed out that he had been commissioned to do a cover for Winds of Winter that has to be due within the next 6 months, I believe. Charlie Streams beat me to this rumor, by the way, on Emergency Awesome. And yeah, turns out it's looking very good by, I would say, fall of next year. I would say that is when Winds of Winter comes out. And he even talked about being on a roll recently in writing. And he had just did a recent interview where he admitted that he'd been completely distracted by all the TV shows and Comic-Cons and football and writing in his journal. So, I mean, I appreciate his honesty where he comes out and says, yeah, I get distracted by a lot of shit. But yeah, it looks like we're going to finally get that book. The problem is we're not going to get the one after it. I don't think we're going to get the one after it. So,
yeah. Sorry, Philip A. Demick just did a really bad old joke. It's what's the dirtiest thing ever said on television? Ward, I think you were a little hard on the beaver last night. But I'm bumped.
Yeah, that was funny 10 years ago. Yeah. All good. Thanks for trying. Those who try the most fail the most, Philip A. Demick. It's okay, buddy. Poor Hodor.
It's a very old joke, but it's still a good one. So, yeah, Susan's still reeling from that one.
Marcus Kahn says your wall has grown in characters.
It has grown in a couple of characters. There's Stan Lee, he's up here, and there's Voltron still there, of course, and there's Deadman and Deadman. So yeah, so it has grown a little bit.
DJ Bowman, if She-Ra was in Game of Thrones with Xena, they'd be sisters and lesbians.
This is true. It wouldn't be for kids.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad either. Yeah.
Mako's all sure, Mrs. Nerdrotic, but she did.
George R. Martin yelling at a cloud.
Yes.
That's why he hasn't been written the books yet. He's been too busy.
Yeah, well,
yelling at clouds.
He also admitted that one of the interesting thing he said, the other interesting thing he said is the show is actually where the show is going. Although I don't believe this quote for a minute. This is one of those ones where you just don't take on face value. I think he had tongue firmly planted in cheek when he said, well, the show has been so great. How do you write an ending better than that? I'm like,
yeah, he was being
George, you're being mean right now.
He was being
nice.
pissy.
Yeah, that was being super pissy. And I love how they presented it. Charlie on Emergency Awesome presented it like he really, that's what he said, that the show has been really awesome. I'm like, that's not what he meant, Charlie.
No, that was not what he meant. He was just going, no. Yeah, how can I top that? Because it was sucking so bad. Yeah. God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Do you like Stand Against Evil? Says Hidden Wiki Susan.
You know what, Hidden Wiki, for what it is, it's a fine program. Like I said in the chat, it's more of a throwback to Kolchak meets Murder, She Wrote. So if you're looking for something that's a little heavier on the horror side, Stan isn't the game. But this year they're a little bit darker, so you might want to check them out.
Yeah, I keep trying to check them out on IFC on their app, but they don't recognize DirecTV Now as a verified provider, which is kind of funny. So I can't watch it.
Yeah, they're on Hulu from what I recall.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a Dana Gould vehicle. Dana Gould, as we know, came from The Simpsons. So there's going to be a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. And plus he's a big Kolchak guy. I had the pleasure of talking to him and John McGinley last year. And, they're just a different kind of show. So if you're expecting something more along the lines of a harder edged, lots of gore and blood, that's not going to be the scene for them. But do give them a chance in Wiki. Check them out. Let me know what you think of them.
Dana Gould also used to stand up in San Francisco in the 80s.
Yes, a very famous stand-up. Yes.
Yeah, I actually had seen him a few times when I frequented comedy clubs in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of different comics in the Bay Area. I never saw Robin Williams live, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, since he lived up there.
Yeah, I always missed him. Same thing with Dave Chappelle, because Dave Chappelle lived in the city for a while there too. Missed him, a couple of times as well. So kind of disappointed on that one, but
yeah.
Yeah. Regarding news, have you heard the Breaking Bad movie may be happening? We have Marcus Kahn, but then I read something that they said Walter White is still dead, which what are they doing? I hope they're not.
He's going to be a zombie.
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, fine.
I heard it's about what happens to Jesse. It's the Jesse Pinkman story.
How would you feel about that, Breaking Bad fans? Do you need that? Honestly, if they don't find some weird miraculous way to bring him back, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think they just let it do. Zombie Breaking Bad. Now that would be good.
Yeah, they could actually pair it with The Walking Dead. And you see, there's always been the theory that Walter White's meth that he was cooking was brought about the zombie apocalypse in The Walking Dead. So that's what you do.
Oh my God, that would be so cool.
Wait a minute, that's another Easter egg. That's another Easter egg, Dennis. Thanks for that one. I'm gonna go write that up after the show.
Yeah, that's an old one. That was they were talking about that right after Breaking Bad had ended, because it was ending just, I think, when season 2 of Walking Dead was starting up again.
You want to fix everything, you just blame it on Walter White's meth.
That's it.
Star Trek Discovery, Walter White's meth. Planet of the Apes, Walter White's meth.
No.
Newhart, Walter White's meth.
No, it's the cocaine in the writer's room.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there's that. Yeah, it's. Shall I say it? Is it early enough, or is it late
early
enough?
It's fine. We are past. Where it's 11:30 somewhere.
The kids are asleep. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, it's the butt chugging.
There you go.
It is the butt chugging. I'm glad everyone knew where I was going with it. So.
Yes.
Yeah, that never cold butt chugging.
Well, it's blue. It would explain Legion too.
It would definitely.
There you go.
It would definitely.
It's always blue.
It's always blue. It's always blue. Oh wow. So speaking of It's Always Blue. That was a bad segue. Anyway,
really bad, but go with it.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Walter White's meth is bad, McCoy.
No, you know what? I am going to go with it. Sure.
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had got renewed for a season 7 before season 6 even premieres.
Wow.
Now, remember, season 6 is a shortened season. It's down to 12 episodes, if I remember correctly, from the 24 that it had before. So right now, the entire principal cast is getting ready to go up after season 7 for contract renegotiation. So the whole thing is you already have a budget for a whole season of 24 episodes. So why not film a season 6 and a season 7 back to back? And that way you can have that in the can and then do your contract negotiations while season 6 is airing.
This is it just turning into the new Supernatural? Is the show just never going to die?
I guess. Yeah.
I guess it gets good enough ratings. I mean, I can't really bash on the show. I don't watch it. So, I mean, if it's getting better,
No,
cool.
It's not. It's not getting better.
Then why do you watch it?
Just because people ask us about it, like, I want to stay kind of current with it. And
that's a good excuse for the 3 people who ask us. Is anybody here going to ask Dennis about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I know Jody might, but no. Supernatural meth. Yeah.
Tekkaman Bald, I'm with you on that. I loved Agent Carter so much better, and I wish they had stuck with it. Unfortunately, they decided to go with Agents of Shield.
Yes, Carter was indeed much better. I totally agree with you on that. That was actually a pretty damn good show.
And I'm gonna disagree with you, Tekken Man Bald, on the Ghost Driver. It's not Ghost Rider, it's Ghost Driver.
That was the only reason I went back and watched it, because it's got Flamehead on it. I love him. Yes, Mike Cedar. I'm sorry about your blue balls, man. I really am. Just kidding, buddy. Marvel TV burnout, says Artemis over easy. Marvel, Jeff Loeb's got to go. That Jeff Loeb sucks. Sorry.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
He's not very good, but it looks like Kevin Feige's taking over. So
I'm hoping. Yeah. Steele Johnson asked Dennis, thoughts on the Arrow crossover with Batwoman? Yeah, we just got hit with some news today, which is part of the crossover. And I might as well just get it now because shit, it just pissed me off. They cast Lex Luthor today on CW Supergirl, and it's gonna be fucking John Cryer.
That is just why.
Why not? It's Supergirl. Kind of fits.
I'm like, seriously? Fucking John Cryer? And his mother, by the way, the woman who plays his mother on the show,
Molly Ringwald, can play Mrs. Tessmacher.
Oh my god!
No, they already have a Miss Tessmacher on the show, who's younger and actually a pretty good actress right now. But the woman who plays, who's going to play his mother on the show, they've already got Mrs. Luthor on there. She is 56 years old. The actress, John Cryer, is 53.
Well, that makes no sense.
I know.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Supergirl.
Yeah.
Nothing matters. It's silly Billy funny stuff. Tumblr.
But then also
I love Supergirl.
It's Ducky. Dude, this is the guy who was in Superman 4. He was in Superman 4 as Lex Luthor's nephew. Was it? Yeah. As Lex's nephew on that?
Yep. Quest for Peace.
And now he's going to be
Lex Luthor. Would have came back.
No, he won't come back to this. He's very particular about what he's doing, and because he's got more money than he needs right now, so he's off doing indie stuff. And I know he's.
I thought he said he would be interested in Lex Luthor. I thought I saw him tweet that.
Man of Action says, "Hope he stocks up on Tiger Blood."
Yeah, really.
Winning.
Yeah,
winning.
God, I missed that. That was fun to watch.
That was a lot of fun. That
Charlie Sheen's downward spiral. I'm sorry, that sounds terrible, but drugs are bad. Okay.
Mark Lurseth, excuse me. Sorry, I murdered your name there. Red Daughter Supergirl is still out there. So yeah, they have this subplot that keeps popping up every now and then. That Supergirl has split into two, and there's a Supergirl that landed in the Soviet Union, or Russia, actually, because it's Russia, and they're training her now there, and they keep popping her up every now and then to show her that, yes, this storyline is still active. We just haven't done anything.
They're doing the red and blue, kind of like from Red.
Yeah, Superman, I think so.
Superman, because that was such a great storyline.
I don't know if they're doing that so much. I think they're trying to do Red Sun, but with Red Daughter. And then mixing in the red and blue thing. I don't know. I hope not.
If John Cryer is Lex, does that mean continuity? Asked Mr. Roboto $2. I don't know. I don't watch the show.
It's in a different universe, so no.
So yeah, it might be like Lex's mom is from one universe and Cryer's from another, and whatever.
Yeah,
it's freaking Supergirl. Yeah,
he's just not menacing. He can't play Lex Luthor. I'm sorry. I mean, they've talked him up so much on the show, Lex, as to what a badass he was and why he's in prison. Why Superman imprisoned him and everything, because they're actually kind of going from the Donner movies off of this. And no, he's just not gonna. Yeah, not gonna happen. And yes,
I think he fits perfect into that show.
Yeah, you do. All right.
Oh man.
Let's talk about Doctor Who for a little more. Huh?
Watch Titans. Oh, Doctor Who sucks. See, I can admit my show sucks.
I admit my show sucks too, but there's some stuff that's fun.
Sucks. There's nothing fun in Doctor Who. Nothing at the zero. fun has like been completely eradicated from Doctor Who.
I tried watching that the last episode. And yeah, it was just bad. It was bad. I agree with you on that.
Yep.
And yeah, John Cryer is way too comic to pull off Lex.
Well, yeah, it's Supergirl. Everybody knows my feelings on it. It's Saturday afternoon TV. Is there Saturday? I don't know. I can't. It's like the comic book you get free with your breakfast cereal. That's the kind of shit that is. So yeah. NPR loved it today. NPR loved what? Thomas Preston. What? Doctor Who? NPR loved it. This is my surprise face.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. Who probably doesn't watch it, or they just love it to tell you they love it, so it looks like they're cool that they love it. And that's what they were going for when they started that show. They went for that crowd, and they got them. And guess what? They don't watch. They don't buy anything.
I hate to sound like the over analytical person, but the minute I saw the opening to Doctor Who and how they went extremely old school, I'm like, this is interesting. They're telling us all it's a new beginning. We're starting over.
Yeah, in the show that we've been told a million times, we don't need to do that because we regenerate. Right. But they're starting over. They're going back to basics, and then they're not. So they're saying one thing and they're doing nothing. Yeah.
Joe says, Dennis, talk about Sabrina next.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I actually got through the whole series and it wasn't that bad. So you know what? It actually around episode 5, 6 is when it turned around, and there's some shit that's in it that you wouldn't like, Gary. It would set you off. But the good majority of the show, of the storyline, was pretty damn good and dark.
I'm just not going to sit through something that I don't like, and it's not made for me. I mean, I'm not a 14-year-old girl, so obviously, and that I'm not going to watch a show like that. And that's what it's for. It's for the Tumblr crowd. It's the Supergirl crowd. If you're into that kind of stuff, then that's for you. It's not for me.
Not a Tumblr crowd.
Dude. Don't make me put a poll up right now. But yeah, if you like it, that's cool. I mean, it's no judgment. I don't care. I mean, like, there's shit I like. I fucking like the Runaways. I mean, that's practically Tumblr stuff too, but I just like the book. But it's on the border for me too. It could go either way in season 2. We'll see. I liked the first season of Gifted. Don't like the second season. Yeah.
The DJD show, Witch Porn But No Talking Pussycats, Sabrina on Netflix. Yeah. Near at the last episode, they actually did have one of the animals start talking, one of the familiars, which leads me to believe that the second season is going to actually start having the talking animals, which will be interesting. So, and since you mentioned it,
Mike Cedar says, I have a Sabrina lunchbox. What did we mention?
There is going to be a holiday episode for Sabrina that pops out on December 14th, if I remember correctly, on Netflix.
Well, they're not calling it a Christmas episode?
No, they're calling it it's something to do with the pagan ritual. I can't remember what it's
that
called.
Probably makes sense for that show, to be honest with you. Yeah, like well, is it just solstice, winter solstice or some shit?
No, it's something else. It's part of the Wicca thing. I can't remember what the
people against goodness and normalcy.
It was the Satanic Temple group, the one that's not affiliated with the Church of Satan.
Yeah.
They had a problem with Bastet, and apparently the writers at Sabrina, they're just pretending that's not going on, and they're starting season 2. So it looks like that's still going to happen.
So the statue that they used of Bastet in the school is actually a real statue that they copied. I mean, they flat out copied it, and they weren't supposed to. They didn't give it any, where they had gotten it from. I've actually seen it before. This is something that ended up being outside, I think, in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, or where they were doing the 10 Commandments statues and all that stuff on public property. that they ended up putting this thing too. They said, well, if you're going to do that kind of religious thing, we're going to do this. And they put it out. It's Moffat. Doc Civil says, I first learned about Moffat reading Son of Satan comic books. It looks like that's what he's doing too. He's like reading a comic book to children. No, he's...
and I thought that sort of thing was like public domain, because that's what the press release said when all this came out, that basically I guess the lawsuit got thrown out or something because it's public domain.
Yeah, it was something that was out in the public. They did not go out and make a cast of it or anything like that. All they did was they basically modeled that same statue after that statue.
So the moral of this story is you can't trademark Satan.
No, you can't. That's kind of ironic, isn't it? You would think.
You think so?
You think he would be a marketing whore, Satan?
Yeah.
This is good. I own all these comics, but it's in color. It's wonderful. And they mix in 2 Ghost Rider comics in the beginning, but
nice.
Really get it. It's good, but get it on freaking. I hate to say this, but like eBay has it for $20. It's kind of cheap. Satan TM. There you go. Hail Satan.
Or
TM.
Or you can go to.
Are gone now, Gary. Thanks. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Or you can go to your local comic book store on Black Friday and go and pick it up cheap, because most of them have a sale going on. Kind of like our friend Jamie Newbold.
Yes, our friend Jamie Newbold. But I went to my old comic store, and because I was a sucker, I paid full price for this thing, because they don't give me a discount there because they don't recognize me, which is fine. That's okay. And I went to an empty comic store on the day Stan Lee died.
Wow.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing. But that's why it's empty, because we had a guy behind the counter staring at a book who wouldn't look up and say hi to me.
Great.
Yeah, well, that's why the store is empty. I mean, if you ever wonder why your store is empty, that's part of the reason, folks. Say hi to somebody who comes in.
Gary, this is a good time to ask you, since you're thinking of doing a pop-up, comic book store. Are you thinking of taking part in Mike Mignola and Dark Horse's Hellboy Day
on March 23rd?
Yes.
Yep. Of course.
Good. Great, because I just wrote about that, and I know they're looking for retailers, and they have all this great promo swag, and I thought of you immediately when I saw that.
I Dennis and I both adore fucking Hellboy. I would make my own Hellboy Day. What I would have done for Stan Lee, and I've said it on the Nooner, but I'll say it again, is I would have been on Facebook, on Twitter, calling customers, getting all of my employees down there, and we would have had a candlelight vigil for Stan Lee. I would have called both news channels that are in San Francisco, told them I was doing that. It's total self-promotion. Fuck yeah, that's what we're here for. They would have come down. They would have filmed us. We had a candlelight vigil for Stan Lee at my store, which nobody did in San Francisco, in the 4th largest media market in the country. And then you live off that advertising for 5 years. I was on TV once in the beginning, and I lived off that for 5 years. It's great. You can't... So there's a lot of comic stores who are like, whoa, sorry, we're closed. I hear a lot of I've seen a lot of them do, and this sucks to say, I'm sorry, but you got to put some work into it, folks.
Yeah.
Jamie Newbold puts work into his store.
He was on the news, as a matter of fact, the day that Stan Lee died, because they came to him, actually. They came to him.
He puts himself out there. He writes books. He is the best comic book retailer in the country, period. He also has a book. Hang on. I can plug his book.
I've got his book right here, too. I can grab it.
Right here. The Forensic Comicologist. Right there. It's available on Amazon. That is my good friend, my mentor, Jamie Newbold. He owns Southern California Comics. He does not pay me to do this. He's like a father to me. I've lost my dad a while back, and actually we became friends right around when I lost my dad. And love this guy. Okay, so check it out.
And he's got a sequel in the works as well, and he's also on Pawn Stars. He was in a couple episodes of Pawn Stars doing some of their comic books. Yep.
And he knows what he's talking about. Best grader I've ever met.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Roboto, for the $2. Can we get Damien Hellstrom Day Who with me?
Fuck, right here with you. Yeah. I love the Son of Satan, Damien Hellstrom. one of the best characters ever. I like, I'm too old to get the pentagram on my chest, but I still might do it.
Yeah, you know what? Someone needs to, I don't know, do something conversion therapy to Fahey or whatever it is. So he has that, gets rid of that aversion to doing supernatural movies, Marvel movies.
That's the flaw. I mean, he doesn't want to do rated R, doesn't want to do supernatural. And I heard that too, Dennis. I heard that because we've been wondering, we're like, where the hell is Brother Voodoo? Where's
Ghost Rider?
Where's Ghost Rider? Where's, Satana?
Blade.
Yeah, not Zatanna, Satana.
Yeah. Satana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Man Thing, for God's sakes. I mean, you could do a really fucking trippy Man Thing.
Yeah, one of my most prized possessions is my giant sized man thing. My giant sized man thing is seriously one of my most prized possessions.
He touches it a lot too.
I do. It's a number one. I have it protected. It's in plastic. I put my giant sized man thing in Mylar. The true Patsy Walker Hellcat. Agreed.
Yes. Yeah. Mr. Pandemonium. Yeah, exactly. What about Mr. Pandemonium?
Mr. Pandemonium. Hang on. We got Witch Woman here. Oh, that'd be that'd be a good one for the ladies, for the third wave feminism. Witch Woman. Just kidding, ladies. Just kidding, Susan. Susan's not talking to me anymore.
Oh no. No.
Oh, there we go. Now we have Man of Action. Stroke your man thing. Tim F. Touch your man thing. Touch it.
Whoa, that sounds.
Would you guys like to see my man? No, just kidding.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
I wish I had it right here. That would have been good to pull
Excuse
out.
me while I whip this out.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Daniel Nolan says they did a Man Thing movie and it sucked. Man Thing was in it for like 1 minute. Yeah, that was Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi did a really bad Man Thing movie.
Wait, Daniel, wasn't he like in a shadow? Like they didn't even fully show him. Like I did a whole movie and like there he is, way over there. Man Thing.
And it's a leaf, like shaking. There we go.
Oh. Yes, I remember. I remember when that came out. I haven't seen it. I seriously, that's one of the things. Don't tease us, Gary. Show us what your man thing looks like next week, Mako. I actually, it's in a box. He's
got to put away for good measure.
I got to put away for good measure. Actually, Mrs. Nerdrotic, she has my man thing. She lets me have it once in a while.
It's in her purse. She's not home at the moment.
Do I remember when Man Thing came out?
That's a loaded question right there.
Yeah, Mike, that was pretty good. Mako says it's in a box now. That's weird. Oh, so we've crossed the line in weird with you, Mako. We got there, huh?
You don't like your man things in a box, Mako?
Oh my.
This is truly after dark.
It is. Oh, well.
Have you seen Swamp Thing? As Patrick Ollinger says. Yes, which Swamp Thing are you referring to? The 80s movie, the TV series from the 90s, or there was a very short-lived like a really bad pilot that they did back in 2005.
Did they do a sequel to the Swamp Thing movie? I could have sworn they did.
They did. Yeah. They did. Return of the Swamp Thing. It was really bad. It was really bad.
Because the first one was real. I mean, I love the first one. Adrienne Barbeau's boobs.
Yeah. No, the first one was awesome. The second one was with Heather Locklear.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
That's right. I remember.
That was actually pretty funny. Where at the very end, she's got the flower growing out of her toe.
Yes. Yeah. Dude, the first Swamp Thing movie is awesome. I love it.
It's awesome. It's
really cool. We should do a commentary on that on Patreon. I would love to do that.
Yeah. Swamp Thing is when Man Thing goes without washing for a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't want it to be a Swamp Thing. Stick with the Man Thing. Throw a little soap on that once in a while. Yeah.
Cool. Dick Durock was the guy's name who played Swamp Thing. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many bad names out there.
There is. That sounded like a porn name too. I mean, but that was his real name, actually. Yeah, I met him in I want to say it was like 2000. You know the Burlingame, that hotel, that big hotel right on Burlingame off of 101 there. Yep. They had a whole like B-movie actors in there. So he was there. The Christopher Gerard, who played Superboy on TV in the 90s.
Yes, I remember that show.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
He was there. Dan Stroud.
Prison Dennis? What's a prison Dennis? I want to know what prison Dennis is.
I don't know what prison Dennis is.
I've got some images flowing through my head right now. They're pretty damn funny. Thinking of Oz and a spoon.
Exactly. Oh man.
No.
Oh, Oz was a sick show. Now it wasn't as bad as American Me, but
I mean, and that was our first introduction to J.K. Simmons too.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
And what an intro.
Hey, that's a good segue. That's a great segue, actually.
Wasn't it? You like that one?
I like that one. Well done.
I tried on that one. It was a little reach, but
I liked it.
So J.K. Simmons has signed on for a recurring role in the Veronica Mars revival at Hulu. Okay,
so I mean, yay. I like Veronica Mars. I didn't like the movie that I paid $400 for. Yes, because I helped crowdfund it and it was not good. But there's a worry with this. What's your first thought, Dennis?
Well, he's playing an ex-con, and I'm kind of hoping he bases it on the white supremacist.
What's your other worry though? Like,
no, I don't have a worry about it. Honestly.
You don't think is gonna interfere with Counterpart? You don't think like Counterpart's been canceled and that's why he's looking for new work? And
it's just a small role, is what it is. They even said it's just a small role.
It's a recurring role.
It's a recurring role, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of actors. Sorry, go ahead, Susan.
No, I was just going to say, I love the fact that he's like the hardest working man in showbiz. I mean, that shows that he's going to have some career longevity.
Yeah.
And even, if Counterpart ends in like 3 seasons or so or more, we're still going to have him. He'll still be viable. So he's very smart.
So Veronica Mars, J.K. Simmons to recur in Hulu revival limited series. Oscar winner J.K. Simmons is signed on for a recurring role in Hulu's revival of Veronica Mars from original series creator Rob Thomas. The 8 episodes, it's only 8 episodes. Limited series is scheduled to premiere in 2019. That is great. The reboot returns Kristen Bell, Enrico Leonti, and Jason Doring to the series that ran for 3 seasons on UPM and the CW back in 2004, 2007. And quite frankly, I mean, it was a good show, but it had a really stellar first season and 2 pretty good second seasons and a not so good movie. But I like it. Mr. Nerdrotic's a big fan. We'll probably cover it. But as long as it doesn't fuck with Counterpart. Okay, so J.K. Simmons, I'm going to give you guys a hint. We're doing an award show later because award shows suck. So we're going to basically be the award show that gives people who deserve shit because they're good. Maybe that's what it's called. The award, you won this award because you deserve shit because you're good award. It was going to J.K. Simmons for Best Actor for 2018 for his portrayal in Counterpart. He's fucking amazing in this show. So yeah, and honestly, I'll say it again. He's played the most accurate comic book character brought from comic book to screen in any film ever as J. Jonah Jameson. So
yeah, he's awesome as J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, and whoever does the voice work on that Spider-Man game sounds exactly like him.
It does. God damn, that game is good.
Yeah, do you like it?
Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, I finally got started to play it a little bit, and then Logan and I started making comic book covers, and there's a bunch of other shit you can do. I fucking love it. Yeah, it's so cool. I can't wait to play Red Dead Redemption 2 though. Got that ready to go.
We'll never see you. That's addictive.
Well, I'm kind of afraid to play it. I mean, sometime in the not so near future, I plan on taking a week off. Not anytime soon, folks. Don't worry. Or maybe you're like, please. I don't know. I don't know. But yes, I am going to take a week off at some point because I've been doing. I don't know, but I've been doing this for. So let's mention it again. Next week will be our 1-year anniversary for Friday Night Tights. and we've been doing this scheduled thing for quite some time now. And yeah, I couldn't believe it's been a year since we did Friday Night Tights, because I was trying to count the amount of episodes we've done. Our first technical Friday Night Tights episode was the Punisher season 1 review. So yeah.
Well, that was wow. If that's the case, then it's next week.
Yes,
right?
it's next week.
Yeah, it is next
week.
week.
Is our 1 year anniversary. We got a lot of anniversaries coming up.
Wow.
We got our 5-year podcast anniversary coming January 7th. Red Dead 2 is good. It's a slow burn, but like a good Western. But make sure you save lots of probably time, Carrie Dalton. Speaking of Westerns, the Golden Avocado Awards, Penn Farm Gold, did somebody else say that? Is that you?
Yeah, I saw someone mention it.
I like that. I think I like that. I think I really like
the
that.
Golden Avocado Awards.
We're also going to give out the Uranus Awards. That's going to the Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery previously had a complete run on it, but now Doctor Who has stolen a lot of Star Trek Discoveries. I'm getting there, guys. Doctor Who might be worse than Star Trek Discovery. I started the season going, well, at least it's not Star Trek Discovery. It's worse. I think it's pretty much worse.
Wow. Tomorrow is the 40th anniversary of the Star Wars Christmas special. Matt Guy says,
no way. Really?
Nub nub.
Dub dub. Hey, Christmas special. Yeah, we're not getting a Doctor Who Christmas special, so I was figuring that we'll do one. Because Melissa usually has to work. Right. And yeah, we don't really we celebrate Boxing Day because both of our works kind of involve us being gone for Christmas. So we'll probably be live on the air. We will be doing a Thanksgiving Day special because I'm going to be alone for Thanksgiving. My the family is going to Wisconsin and I'm staying here. So
well, you're welcome to come down this way, man, and where you can get some fresh air if you want.
Oh man, I might take you up on that. But we're doing a Thanksgiving live stream, guys, in the morning. So mark it in your calendars.
We'll talk after the show.
Right on. Cool. Thanks. Yeah. So I was gonna talk about, should we talk about Doctor? No, you know what? Before we talk about Doctor Who, can I give a quick review of the Ballad of Bust Scruggs?
Go for something good there.
Susan, you could ask any question you want about this. I need to watch it.
You're gonna spoil?
No, I'm not gonna spoil. No spoilers on this one. This is just an overall what I think. I will probably do a more in-depth review once you've seen it, maybe next Friday. So the Ballad of Buster Scruggs is a Western that's on Netflix, and it's short stories. And it's an anthology piece. I don't like all the Coen Brothers movies. I think they're some of the best directors we have out there, but I'm just not a fan of everything they've done. I don't like some of the stuff that a lot of people have liked. I'm actually not a fan of the film Fargo. I don't know why. I'm just not. And I don't like No Country for Old Men either.
I don't
probably
like
just because I fucking hated that ending. It was so postmodern.
Yeah, the ending was
yeah. But I mean, The Big Lebowski, of course, I fucking love that movie. But my favorite movie by them, well, it's a tie. Raising Arizona, of course, because if you've ever had a kid, I mean, it's such a perfect movie for people with new parents. And Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I love that movie. This is the best thing to me they've done since then. The stories are, it's funny. There's stories that'll rip your heart out. You want to talk about subverting expectations. It's done to perfection in this film. It's got fucking Tom Waits. It's got fucking Tom Waits. So fucking Tom Waits. It's got Liam Neeson in it. The first story is the best. It's so fucking funny. There's so many great one-liners, but they do it in that Coen Brother fashion. So you can't it goes so goddamn fast. You got to stop, but it's got that Coen Brothers really dark humor. And it's also got the heart. Man, there's one that's just, ooh, it gets you right at the end, but it also tells Western stories the way they used to tell them. They used to end really dark. There was no happy endings when you were from the stories from the time. Okay, so they really focus on that. James Franco's in one. It's 2 hours 15 minutes long. I didn't feel bored for one fucking second. You will not believe I can't even keep track of how many people. Everybody's been in a past Coen Brothers movie kind of is in this one, and it's just packed with freaking stars. And each story in its own way is really fucking dark, but also kind of funny. It is beautifully shot. I mean, just beautifully shot. And yeah, this might be one of the best Westerns I've ever seen. I fucking like the Western genre. I mean, I haven't seen every single one. I know I'm totally gushing on this one, probably because I'm still in the moment. I might be prisoner of the moment here. But wow, this is fucking, it was a great movie. It was a great movie. And yeah, see it as soon as possible.
Definitely looking forward to it. I just didn't have the time to make it before the show that we could, and I wanted to give it my full attention too. So
you should. And I want to take this moment to rip the hell out of Star Trek Discovery and use this as an example. Where do I get that from? Well, these vignettes, these stories are told in 15 to 18 minutes. So I want you to compare, and it's pretty much not even fair, but let's do it anyway. I want you to compare just one of these stories to any of the short treks, which are the exact same length. And like I said about the last short trek, I've seen tons of short stories where you can tell a complete love story in the first 5 minutes. And then if somebody dies at the end, you feel the same pain as you would if you watched a 2-hour movie or a 10 episode short season or 10 seasons of something. You feel that in this. Okay. You feel like the impact if maybe somebody dies or if something funny happens, you feel the impact and you're into the characters within minutes. I mean, that's the kind of writing. Yeah, it's nice to hold people to a very high standard, especially when you're, going through a paywall to get something.
Yep.
And yeah, so it's not fair, but if you want a great example of how you tell a story in 18 minutes, just watch one of these. They're brilliant. So well done.
Yeah, no, I love the Coen Brothers. I mean, you were mentioning some of their movies. One of my favorites that everyone kind of forgets about is the Hudsucker Proxy.
Oh my God, I love that one. About that. No.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, that got nominated though. I mean, like it got nominated for a ton of awards. I don't know if it won any, but
I know Susan knows a lot about this one.
Oh, Hudsucker Proxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi co-wrote it with them. Bruce Campbell's in it because it's kind of a production of both of these guys. And everyone's going, Coen Brothers and Sam Raimi, what the hell? The Coen Brothers actually helped Sam edit the first Evil Dead movie. They actually kind of snuck him in. One of them was actually working in an editing production company, and they would sneak him in at night to help him edit the movie.
Well, I mean, haven't you guys, hasn't anybody just noticed the similarities between the Coen Brothers and Sam Raimi? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have noticed that.
Well, the Thin Blue Line that the Coen Brothers did. I think that's the name. No, not the Thin Blue Line. That's Errol Morris. The very first one they did with John Getz.
Is that Miller's Crossing? No, that's not Miller's Crossing.
Also, and Barry Sonnenfeld. We can't forget Barry Sonnenfeld.
Yeah.
He was the cinematographer. Wow. It's that whole school. They're all brilliant. So,
yeah.
Go on.
Well, because the proof of concept for that very first film with John Getz from the Coen Brothers, if you look at the person that's driving the car, Bruce Campbell plays the lead in that, but not in the movie. So if you ever see that on YouTube, that's Bruce Campbell crawling on the ground and stuff.
Really?
Nice.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Such good stuff. And Paul Newman's awesome. Just
yes,
being as evil as he is, and the whole scene with him hanging from his pants off the building as the seam is breaking, and they go back into the seam maker, his tailor, who Paul Newman basically said, I don't want double seams or double stitches on this. Single stitch is fine for me. I don't want to pay extra money. And the tailor was like, you know what? He's such a good guy. I'm gonna do the double stitching anyway.
I do it anyway.
Yeah. So you see the first seams kind of break, and then it holds because it's the double stitching that holds him in.
That is classic.
And it's beautiful.
Is too. I mean, the first scene in the movie is like, if anybody has ever sat through a corporate meeting or any type of meeting, you will have had this feeling of what Charles Durning does at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
It's priceless.
I've thought of it many times.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Yep. I've looked at the windows. Yes.
And it's actually become a classic scene that's been done time and time again in other parodies.
True.
I forget which one it was, but actually Venture Brothers did it recently in this season where he's in the stockholders meeting. Remember?
Yes.
He runs on the table
And he goes out jumps out the window. Yeah, you're right.
That's what it's from. It's from Sucker Punch.
When he's got the glass, all he's starts losing all the blood and shit. Oh god,
exactly.
Go Team Venture. Wait for Joe to come back. Hey, Rough Girl, happy birthday! Happy birthday, Rough Girl.
Happy birthday, Rough Girl. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, that's some good stuff, man. And I love what they do. Pretty much everything that they've done. Not everything, but almost everything.
Their body of work is pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
I just dream of. I mean, usually when an auteur does a superhero movie, it turns out like Ang Lee's Hulk. But which I don't totally hate, by the way. But I would love to see them do something. If the Coen Brothers did a Superman movie, I think it'd be fucking awesome. I mean, and make it a period piece, make it like a 30s Superman movie.
I think they would do like a 30s, movie. That would be
fucking awesome.
Well, it's what Donner did. I mean, Donner pretty much kind of modeled it after the 30s and then opened it into the 70s, but still gave it that timeless quality.
That's been the missing element.
Yeah.
From here on out, we keep on trying to adapt New 52, fucking Jim Lee, fucking Dan Didio Superman, and not go to the original. Just like go off the Max Fleischer cartoons, which is what Donner did, and yeah. God.
Yeah, no, some good stuff, man.
By the way, have you seen Titans? Did you see the new Titans?
I didn't. No.
There is a little teeny Batman the animated series Easter egg in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Mm-hmm. I was very happy to see it.
Yeah, no, I got home late today, so it was,
It's getting better. I mean, it's never gonna, I just compare it. Maybe I'm just starting to compare it to other shows. Like, well, it's better than The Gifted. It's better than Cloak and Dagger.
Dude,
It's better than anything on the CW. It's better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Although,
so maybe it's not bad.
I'll give you this much: The Gifted, the episode 6 with the triplets, or the cuckoos, was really good.
Anything they don't use them enough. Like everything they're in is good. You're right. No, I'm gonna review the last couple of episodes just on a recorded video. I'm doing that with Manifest as well. Because Manifest isn't it's not awful. It's just really
done before.
It's normie. Yeah, it's super normie TV. Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with normies. I'm just not one. That's all.
And dude, I hate to say it, but what's his name? The father. Now I'm blanking on his name. The actor in the Gifted.
Oh my god, you sound like one of those ladies who used to rent movies from me at the warehouse in San Marcos. You got the movie with the actor in it, the one that came out the day it came out.
You know who I'm talking about? Steve Moyer. Steve Moyer. Yeah. There we go. Steve Moyer. Yeah, that Steve Moyer guy. He still sucks as an actor, man. He really does. He's like one of the worst things on there. He really is. I'm sorry to say.
I think Stephen Moyer wronged Dennis's sister or something like that.
He might have in some
took her out to dinner and never called her again. I took her out to a nice steak dinner and I'll never call her again.
Thanks, champ. Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
He's just horrible, man. I'm sitting there trying to watch this thing and it's like Speaking of whammies, we got a little news of Birds of Prey. And we got a Cassandra Cain casting with Ella J. Bosco. Now she's a relative newcomer. And I was like, who the hell is Ella J. Bosco?
Yep, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And I happened to look and I'm like, is she 9?
It looks like it.
Who's she gonna be?
Cassandra Cain.
Who will eventually be, as we all know, Batgirl.
Yeah, Batwoman. Yeah.
So she's gonna be
yes.
Batgirl. Batwoman. Yeah, it depends on the timeline.
But she's young.
She's young. She's like 9 years. There's a picture of it. If you click on that link there, you'll see a picture of her if you scroll down. It's just really.
Nah, I trust you.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, like the movie's gonna be rated R. It's fine. They're doing their own thing. I'm of the mind that they're trying. Each movie is going to be trying something different to see if it works, so we can make our cinematic universe. But they're making them not so far apart to where they can connect them if they want to.
Yeah,
which might not be a bad move, to be honest with you. Get experimental. The Aquaman movie, the closer it gets to the movie, the more he looks like Aquaman. Have you noticed that? Like when the production started and the first posters came out, it was like that pewter shit that that Zack Snyder did, where you can barely see the color of the super. And by the time we're getting to the movie, he straight up looks like fucking Aquaman. I mean, like Peter David's Aquaman, but Aquaman. And we're gonna get a lot of Mira, I guess. That's
of Amber Heard.
Yeah, I have a feeling that she's probably going to be the focus of the movie.
Yeah,
that seems to be kind of like Iron Fist, kind of like Time's Up Man, Time's Up Aquaman.
Are they afraid that Jason can't handle it? That we've got to bring the girl that's like a manila envelope on a white wall?
So Jason had his own little problems as well, which, there was a little blip that happened, and I'm pretty sure that was probably some of it as well. But
his was more just something done in bad taste, which fuck, I've done, everybody's done. That's bullshit. What was put on him?
What was that?
He just made a bad fucking joke. I mean,
he made
he
made a bad joke, and it blew up for a second. Honestly, it just literally for a second. And I think Lisa Bonet, his wife, ended up smacking him down, and that's kind of what saved him a bit on some of it. But yeah,
Lisa Bonet would probably make a joke like that. It's just something that it probably it done within around friends and stuff. You go, ha ha ha. That's something you laugh at. Done out loud when you're working for DC, and he wasn't even working for DC at the time, was he? Was he? Working,
he was.
He was doing Justice League. Compared to other stuff, it's nothing. So, and Amber Heard, well,
wait a minute. Wasn't that way back in 2011 though? The joke.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was. But was
No. It was during Justice League. It was like when he was doing the junket for Justice League.
So it was 2011 back then.
Yeah, something like that.
No,
resurrected it like James Gunn. Okay, I get it now.
I don't know when the joke was done. It was a while ago, and it was nothing.
Yeah.
So, and it's just.
But I think it factored into it. That's all it was.
Oh my God! If you just dig in everybody's fucking past, you're gonna find something to hold judgment over. Why don't we? I think anybody who digs back into somebody's past to find stuff like that should have their past dug into. You should suffer the same fate. We'll see how great you were over the course of your life. Lisa Bonet is 50. She is. Yeah, she's she's old. Yeah. She's my age.
51 actually.
And she's older.
Yeah.
James Gandolfini. Did I read that right? James Gandolfini was 52 when he died. 53.
Yes. Yeah.
God, he was only 4 years older than me right now than when he died.
He's only a year older than me, a couple months. Yeah.
He looked 20 years. That's hard living right there. Would you at all have liked to see James Cameron's Aquaman, Mr. Roboto? Yeah. Actually, I would have.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded it.
Yeah.
Thank you, by the way, for the $2, Mr. Roboto.
Apparently, one of the Avatar sequels have wrapped principal photography. Now, that doesn't mean anything. It just means the actors stopped acting. We still have 10 years of rendering to do.
He's got a year of post-production, is what he said. It's going to be a year.
So in James Cameron time, that is years. And one of the sequels is completely underwater. So there you go. Yeah, it was Coke, Gary. That's Hidden Wiki. That's what I always think. I always go to it was
Coke.
Yes, it was Coke. It was Coke that made me. Well, yeah. I mean, I did a lot of very strange things on coke as well. So that's how I know.
Make Cedar says that they didn't even rush him to the hospital. The screen just faded to black. Oh, bad joke.
Ba-dum-bum. But hey, like I said before, those who try the most fail the most, and we appreciate that here. We appreciate effort. 3 years Avatar 2. 3 years from now, I would say that's the DJD show. I would say that's a solid prediction. I would say that's a solid prediction. Sam, what's his name again? Sam.
Sam
Worthington.
Worthington. 5'5" Sam Worthington. 5'6". I sat next to him in a bar. He's a cute little guy. Yeah, he'll be like 70 when the movie comes out. But they can, he'll be in the Avatar thing. I'm kidding. I'm not a fan of those movies. I'm not, but people enjoyed them, and that's cool. So
yeah,
and James Cameron does rule. I do like him.
I like James Cameron too, but yeah, I'm just gonna say that episode of Future Man was just dead on right about him.
Which we will be covering. When season 2?
January.
Yeah, I better get on that.
Yeah,
I can add that to the 20 shows we're covering. January is going to be huge for us, folks. I actually can't wait. I can't wait. I think we're going to get a lot of channel growth in January. That will be cool.
CD Horde says Super Normie coming this summer.
Super Normie, right?
Operation Sky Pebble says, what do you specifically dislike about Stephen Moyer? His acting, or lack thereof. That's what I dislike.
I don't mind him.
Yeah,
I like True Blood.
I'm sitting there, I'm watching Gifted, and the Gifted, I'm just going to say it's not the most far-reaching show on the bar there, because it's, but the actors are fairly decent, in there. They're not great or anything. And then you get to Stephen Moyer and everything goes, then it just drops all of a sudden. It's really weird. I don't know what it is, but he's even worse than the kid who plays Andy, the son, who really overacts, chews up scenery and stuff like that, and tries to emote but comes out not feeling right. And even that kid's
I think he wronged Dennis's sister to have that much of resentment just for a guy who pretends. I don't know. I just tend to not watch their stuff. Like James Spader does that for me. I'm not a James Spader fan, but I just don't watch his stuff. Hidden Wiki says, I quote, I sat by him. Cute. Okay. That's kind of a misquote. I meant cute as like if you pet a little puppy. Because he's a little
cute
guy.
Yeah, he says he's a cute little guy, is what he said.
Cute little guy. I didn't say he's cute, but maybe. I mean, how much money has he got? Avatar: The Next Generation of Stars. But I like the movie. Yeah, it's cool. If you like a lot of people did. John Reed, our former co-host, adored the movie. It was one of the best things he's ever seen. A bad actor can ruin your show. It can, Mako.
It can, yeah. It can pull you straight out of a show easily. Cases says, if I made Avatar 2, I'd pull a James Cameron and totally rip off Apocalypse Now for the plot. Oh, ow. That's bad.
That's bad.
That's bad, okay?
Okay, cute. Okay. That's what Hidwiki was saying. I know what you're saying, Hidwiki. I was just giving you a hard time. Suge.
Bat person.
Now, well, that's coming, folks.
Yeah,
that is coming. The old Spider-Man, X-Men. Believe me, the X-Men will be the first ones to be renamed the X-People or the. You watch, it's gonna happen.
And we'll just have to let it go then.
The X-Beans.
It's all good, Hidden Wiki. Yeah, I'll never judge you for typing. Like I'm the worst imaginable at that. So
he is.
I just don't bother correcting it because I don't care. I can give two shits if I'm spelling something right. Did my point get across? Great. Sometimes I don't have time to fucking spell shit right all the time, especially when I'm typing with one hand and doing something with another. I'm always doing something, so I don't sit around. Even when I was watching the Ballad of Bust Scruggs, I was like prepping for the show and doing stuff while I'm watching it. I'm always multitasking. Just not very good at it.
It's true. Carrie Dalton says we get Battle Angel Alita first. Yeah, we do. And that is from the great Robert Rodriguez.
We'll see. I'm gonna check it out. It looks pretty. It looks okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
I'm glad they turned on the eyes a bit. That's all I'm glad about. I mean,
James Cameron was attached to direct that forever, forever,
and
ever.
he's still the producer on it. He just handed it off. That's all.
Yeah.
Do you guys think
on why?
Yeah. Matt Guy says, do you guys think Tim Miller can save the Terminator franchise? No.
No.
Not what I've seen. No.
It's beating a dead horse that's already turned to dust.
Here's how you save it. If Tim Miller basically copies the Sarah Connor Chronicles and just pretty much copies everything they've done, I think Tim Miller's a really talented director. I love his Deadpool. Love his Deadpool. I think Deadpool is better than Deadpool 2, like a million times better than Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 is good. It's a good movie, but it's nowhere near as good as the first one. We can all agree on that. Tim Miller did a great job directing that. I know James Cameron is actually involved in this. How much? I don't know. The Terminator is like an Arnold Schwarzenegger franchise. It really is.
Yeah.
The one thing they did good was the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Definitely, if you haven't seen that, watch that, because that is amazing.
It's awesome.
They could do something fun with it if they just continued that show.
Yeah, like Man of Action is saying, season 3. They did season 3 so we can find out what the hell happened. They went to the future and we never found out what happened.
I mean, it's hard to, that photoshopped image of, God, it looked terrible. I would not have put that out. That was bad Photoshop for one. Everybody's heads are too big. And it just didn't look good. And, first impressions are everything. I mean, it could be the most solid movie, but it's a lot like that first Titans trailer you put out. And it just dud.
Yeah. And the thing is, you notice there's nothing else that's come out from that since then.
No.
They just locked everything down. They just locked everything down tight. They're like, yep, we're not doing anything more.
But I mean, is there a chance it could be good? Yes. I think there's a chance. Very small, but
so you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance. 206 is a hot mess. I have Ghostbuster vibes, or everything else wham ends all over it. Yeah, that's the feeling I got with that one. And the bringing back Sarah Connor is cool if they do it the same way James did it in Terminator 2. But I mean, like, unless listen, if James Cameron was directing it, I'd feel differently about it.
Yeah, I would too. Summer Tyon Ranger says Summer Glau was so good in that. Talking about the Sarah Connor Chronicles. What happened to Summer Glau? She disappeared.
She's still around. I mean, she has not aged. She looks the same as she did 10 years ago, so I think she's a vampire. But I don't know what happened. Joss Whedon stopped giving her work, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. Oh God, that freaking Ghostbusters thing. So Dan Aykroyd came out and said he's writing another Ghostbusters, and that's great. He's been saying that for 20 years. Yeah, 20, 30 years. And I think I think it actually might happen. I think the reason Dan Aykroyd maybe went out and said that is because he's got some confirmation with Bill Murray, who was the one who held it all up before. But I think after Ghostbusters 2016, they all feel like they maybe something good will come out of that movie, and we'll get this. But the problem is, like, without Harold Ramis, just let it lie, guys.
Yeah.
Let it be. I have no interest. I don't care if Ivan Reitman's coming back to direct. These guys are all way past their prime. Just don't do it. Don't. I mean,
well, this is what's going on with that. I believe next year is the 25th year, and I think the rights are set to revert back to Aykroyd. So I think what he's doing is putting feelers out there to see what who bites, who's interested. And he may very well have a script, but Bill Murray trying to get a hold of him is like trying to contact E.T. He just is mercurial. He has no management. Sofia Coppola had to run him down to get him for Lost in Translation. You really have to work to get him. So, I don't know about this film ever taking off, but I think maybe that's what Aykroyd's doing.
He's keeping his name out there. He's being smart. That's good marketing. And I love Dan Aykroyd. And like, how would you guys feel? I'm putting this out to the chat because I don't know how I would feel. Like, how would you feel about maybe like an animated one or something like that? Would that be better than having these, two old guys running around? Or do you want to see like maybe them pass the torch to maybe, I don't know, 2 guys and 2 girls instead of just all girls?
Well, there was a video game that came out that was widely considered to be Ghostbusters 3.
I agree with that statement. I played that video game with my son. I loved it. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Mako says, what do you guys think about Gladiator 2? Crazy, stupid, or butt chugging?
Butt chugging.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the 300 sequel.
Okay, first of all, they're basing it off of, the little boy, Lucius. Or why? Who cares? Who even remembers? I don't get it. I think once again, Ridley Scott trying to stay relevant, had a bad turn with Alien Covenant, trying to redeem himself. Yeah, that may not be the way to go.
Yeah, I guess they're talking about Alien again as well, where they're talking about the engineers coming back and coming after David, and they're going to end up on LV2, whatever it is, the planet that Ripley ends up going to,
Okay.
And they basically catch up with him, and all hell breaks loose, or craziness ensues and whatnot.
Yeah, what we were talking about with J.K. Rowling, just stay Ridley Scott, especially when Ridley Scott was coming out and like passing judgment on superhero films and other actors. Dude, I know. Okay, I can't be that hard on him. He's clearly still upset that his brother committed suicide, and he's just trying to stay busy and stuff. So I'm gonna forgive him for all that stuff. But just like, dude, like, go do something, or fuck it, go do Gladiator 2. That's fine. I'm not gonna watch it. I don't care. Stay the hell away from aliens. That Neil Blobkin alien is something I really would have loved to have seen.
Yes.
Oh my god, the sketch art from that was just beautiful. Fuck.
How's your father? Says Ghostbusters babies.
Don't give him. You just gave him an idea. How's your father? Damn it.
Mr. B Natural says, just let Neil Bloopin camp. Bloop camp.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just made me laugh.
You can write his name.
Make a sequel to Aliens. Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel about typing. You got my point. Good. I don't have time to fucking spell
it. Just made me laugh. That's all it was. It was fun.
Get the message. So 302 with with a crazier Frank Miller.
They did do a 300
they did
too. Yeah. And it wasn't bad, actually. It had Eva Green in it.
It was okay.
It was okay. It wasn't
terrible.
It wasn't horrible. I mean,
this is a crazier Frank Miller, guys. His Xerxes book.
Oh yeah.
This is a crazier Frank Miller.
Yeah.
This is like in a way it's a shadow of the old Frank Miller. I mean, like, how many piercings can they do now? But in a way I kind of love it. I mean, that's Frank Miller. It sucks not having Lynn Varley around, but yeah, there's something I still love about this stuff. I know a lot of people are hating on this book, but I love this dude. That's crazy Frank Miller.
Honestly, what needs to be made is Ronin.
Yes, emphatically yes.
That would be a fucking awesome. Can you imagine that being a series on Hulu or Netflix or something?
Honestly,
like that?
The best director for that would be Robert Rodriguez. He would get some. Dude, his Sin City is fucking awesome. Like the first Sin City movie, is perfect.
But the nuttiness of it, I think Noah Hawley would actually do a good job of it.
I don't know if he directed. I mean, he's a writer, but like, what has he directed?
He's directed episodes of Legion.
Yeah, but that's not directing like dude, Frank Miller and adapting a Frank Miller piece.
What about Carrie
if you wanted to do it linear, like not do it like Sin City, so you're just basing it on Frank Miller's work, but you're not really adapting it perfectly, then yeah, I would do Noah Hawley. He'd be good. But I mean, again, that's a big jump from doing a TV show than directing a movie.
The guy who did Maniac, Fukawa.
Yes,
Fujikawa.
yes,
He would do a good job.
He should direct everything.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
He did the first season of True Detective, and it kicked butt.
Yeah.
Doing Bond, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking, that's gonna be a good Bond movie.
Fukuyama, thank you,
Yeah.
Artemis over
He's from Oakland. He did True Detective season 1. He did Maniac. If anybody saw True Detective season 2, the guy, I forgot the guy who wrote True Detective, like threw tons of shade on him within the show. Has an Asian director who's kind of a douchebag. Did you guys see it? Did you guys see season 2?
I saw it. I saw it.
That was based on Carrie, that character in season 2.
Everybody hated season 2 for True Detective, but I honestly didn't, because expectations were that it was going to be weird and it was going to be just like the first season. It was its own thing, and if you looked at it like that, it wasn't bad. And that's just like people will probably expect season 3 to be the same way. But in truth, it's more like what Penny Dreadful's going to become. It's just the name, and it's going to change stories all the time.
And they said that in the beginning. I mean, they said it's going to be a anthology series.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But the thing is, the biggest mistake they made is they kind of set the tone. Mr. Robot did this afterwards too. Carrie, I can't say they were the first to do it, but not many people were having one director direct every episode of a TV series, and you saw what a difference that fucking makes.
Yep.
Like, it really was cohesive and beautiful.
Yep.
Plus his eye, like nobody has, like he has a rare eye. He has a Kubrick eye of capturing something, making kind of like what Sam Esmail is right now. I think Sam Esmail is going to go to movies after this, because he is definitely can make a normal office look surreal and weird, and he can do that. He does it as well. And when you set that precedent in a show, you need to keep up with it. And they went from this beautiful thing to, okay, we're going to be more of a linear show now. That's not bad. It wasn't a bad season 2. It just kind of got boring at times.
Yeah.
And you were just drawn in on True Detective season 1 is like some perfect TV. I don't know what you guys feel that way, but I do. I can't wait for season 3 though. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Looks very, very good, because it's going to take you through decades, and the direction and the acting is there, and plus David Simon's behind it.
Ooh.
So I think it's going to be really, it's going to be very, very different.
All right, let's get to the chat, Dennis.
Yeah. Tyon Ranger says, Joe, I think it was a spoof of multiple things. Pretty sure Daredevil is one. New York, one fights ninjas called the Hand, and the other fights ninjas called the Foot. They're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then Joe says, yes, Tyon, that is why they should not do Ronin. I don't know, man. Ronin actually is fairly straightforward. I mean, granted, it jumps back and forth in the story between past and future. But I think it could be done. I do.
I think it could be done too, but I think it would probably end up like Blade Runner, something very expensive, beautiful, that would be a cult hit, and then it wouldn't make any money. It would be a tough sell. That would be the kind of thing you try to sell now on Netflix or Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Then it might get made, and might get made right. Like whoever was behind Altered Carbon, maybe do a TV series, maybe that'd be. But it's a beautiful comic. I love it. I mean, it's listen, it's all over the place. But it was the first like Frank Miller Unbound. It was really cool. I remember. Yeah, God, I was like 12 when it came out, 13.
Yeah,
blew me away.
Tyon Ranger says Ghostbusters International franchises. Peter in charge of the business clashes with Ray over brand integrity. Winston in charge of training a new team. They're the focus, but old team saves the day.
I like that. Sounds great. See, we always get better ideas in our chat than we hear from actual Hollywood guys. I'm not kidding about that.
Hollywood needs to troll our chat.
They really,
but in a good way.
Philip A. Demick says they had a chance to pass the torch with Ghostbusters and didn't. Now, no matter what they do, the IP will always be tainted. Yeah, that Ghostbusters 2016 really, really killed a lot of things.
Well, it killed it. Okay, if it was just a movie by itself that was bad, and I'm sure many people have said this, we've never talked about it much on this because we just didn't want to see it. But it was what Paul Feig did, his whole act prior, now, during the filming. He was the first to launch the attack of the fans. He fired the first shot of the attack of the fans that we're dealing with and all of a sudden creators felt free to do so thanks to this D-bag. And that is your legacy, Paul Feig, forever till the end of time. Is you're just known as a fan attacker. And maybe if you focused a little more on making your show good, your movie good, and a little less about like always virtue signaling and what suit you're wearing, and concentrate on your craft, dude, and learn some customer service too.
Well, see, here's the thing that with him, and this is how that whole, Ghostbusters started, is on paper, it sounded good. This is the problem with everything. On paper, things sound good. Actual application, not so good. The pitch was probably, we're going to get Melissa McCarthy. Oh, she's hot now. Okay, yeah. We're going to get Kate McKinnon. Oh, she's a breakthrough. She's coming up. Yeah. Leslie Jones, another one. Okay. Because they're Saturday Night Live. Maybe lightning will strike again, like with the first Ghostbusters. Then you have Bill Murray coming out, who just worked with Melissa on St. Vincent, which if you guys have not seen St. Vincent, I highly recommend it. It's one of Bill Murray's best performances, next to Lost in Translation. Just fresh off of her, he came out in the media and said, she's great. I fully support this, blah, blah, blah. So we had the big, great hype machine behind it. Once it gets into theaters, it all falls apart. It doesn't live up to the hype. Then we have fans feeling like, Jesus, clickbait. What did you guys do? You built this up. We thought it was going to be great. It isn't. And now, instead of coming out like what Sam Raimi, and I hate to throw him out here, but what Sam Raimi did with Spider-Man, say, yeah, it wasn't a good film. And I didn't do my best. I'm sorry about that. Paul goes on the defensive because it's his baby. And then all that drama ensues. And to me, that's what the hell happened with the Ghostbusters. Is the whole hype machine, and then it felt like clickbait. And it's never going to be righted. Because 2 years later, now we're talking about because of Aykroyd. But Melissa McCarthy's still into it. She just had an article come out where she's talking about it again. And it's like, okay, nobody really was talking about this, but now we're talking about it again.
Well, they're mad because like her career was on an upward trajectory, and now, I mean, she only had a certain amount of time anyway. And
same shtick.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it was, but that didn't help. And I would just never talk about this movie again. You're not going to win this one, Paul Feig or Melissa McCarthy or anybody. If you notice, the other actresses don't really say shit about it.
No.
Although they moved on.
They know better. What was that?
They've
moved on. I'm sorry.
Well, Leslie Jones. Yeah. Well,
but she had a whole other issue that we won't get into.
Nope.
That Dan Aykroyd came into her defense about. But it's just
Paul Feig. What he did to the fans was unforgivable. Unforgivable, and unless he comes out and says he's sorry, which he has not done once. So come out and apologize for attacking fans who simply did not like your movie, and we can talk. We can move on from there. But if you keep doubling, tripling down, and he's the one who started all this bullshit, and it made it okay for other creators to start calling fans sexist just because you don't like a movie. And then people are going to start, well, why are you making a movie like this? To be critic proof or to actually push something forward? And that wasn't to push something forward. It was a gimmick done by I block her name out of my brain, Dennis. My God, what's her name from Spider-Man, the Sony producer?
Oh, Amy Pascal.
Amy Pascal. God, and I'll forget it again. And I mean to do that, by the way. It's all that spilling out. And hopefully it's ending soon. I mean, because listen, people can hate fandom all they want or criticize fandom. It's just never going to work out for anybody who tries that. Good luck. Yeah, some fandom can be obnoxious sometimes. So what? So what? They pay the bills. They keep the lights on. They're the reason you are there. So yeah, they get to spout off. And there's people, most people deal with it well. Most people can handle customer service, you charm them, or you just tune it out. If people are gonna criticize your shit, we get criticized all the fucking time. You just tune it out. I just turn on my dad's skills, my husband's skills, and boop, I don't hear it.
The problem is that creators will not admit that they made a misstep. If they could get beyond that, look, there's some articles I write that I'm like, yep, that was shit. And then they surprise me and people like them, which is amazing. But if you can look at what you do and say, yeah, that was a misstep. This is why. Come out and say you did it. And people would actually admire you for admitting it. And then that would alleviate some of the problems that we have now. But instead, people get upset. People go on tirades. And that may not be, like you said, that's not the way to handle it, Gary. But I think if they would start with yep, I did it. Yep, it was bad. And I'll do better the next time. I guarantee you we wouldn't have these discussions and it wouldn't be as rancorous.
Absolutely. I mean, Sam Raimi, to his credit, I mean, that's a man's man to come out and do that and take all the responsibility, which he probably didn't need to take. But my hat's off to him. And other directors have done it too. Joel Schumacher has done it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, with Batman and Robin. Yeah,
I mean, he said he went too far. He said he went too far with it. That's and he apologized for it.
And it was over.
Yeah,
it was simply over after that. It's like, hey, you know what? He tried, and he came out, and and that's all. If Paul Feig would have done that, it would have been over. And it's a sign of the guy's insecure. That's simply it. And so many artists are. So, I mean, like, nobody's ever perfect in that part. Like, we've all have our moments with it, but that is a sign. That is a major sign of insecurity, is when you can't admit a wrong because, it rocks you to the core. It rocks. If somebody is that insecure to where they can't admit a mistake, it's because they feel so bad about themselves that one more mistake would just crush them. And it sucks. It's actually something you can fix. He can afford therapy,
Carrie Dalton says Leslie Jones's character was horribly written. Jack Benny's driver Rochester was more subtle. Yeah. Yeah. I thought I was the only one on that one because I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, okay, so PhD, street wise, jive talking kind of person who just screams every single line. What's wrong with this?
That picture was them. Look at us. We're being inclusive by stereotyping the hell out of somebody in our. Yeah, it's the same thing with Ghost Driver and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's it's okay. Okay, so
you mean a gang member who
a gang affiliation who's a mechanic. Yeah, who lives in East LA. I mean, why can't he work at Subway? Be going to school,
or why can't he work in at the university?
Yeah,
as well.
Why can't he own the shop? I mean, like, why does he got to be a mechanic and a crippled brother because of the gangs? And yeah. So when they go out of their way to not be racist, they're a little bit racist.
Yeah. Oh man,
it's funny though. It's funny because when they go out and they pat themselves on the back about that shit, and you're just like, what? And you were there when Greg Berlanti did that for Supergirl.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. The character's gay. It's the first gay character. No, it's not.
It's not. And it was crickets. It was like, so what?
Wow,
gay characters. Yeah, there's gay characters in TV. And Brian Falk, thank you for the $9.99. Susan is the best. Like all you guys listen to this podcast while at work. Awesome. I'll try not to cuss, Brian. I'm sorry. Susan is the best. Thank you for the $9.99. I really appreciate that. Very generous.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. We do appreciate
Thank you. Yes. And I make no such promises about the cussing. So
I'll probably break it, but it's not on purpose, Brian. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. Maybe put those headphones in, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Put the headphones on, man. Some good news. I don't know. Maybe it depends on how you guys. I don't know if anyone else watches this other than me, but Travelers on Netflix season 3 is coming out on December 14th. The time travel series that has a little bit of a twist to it.
Okay.
I hear crickets.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad. I haven't seen it. So
yeah, no, you still haven't watched. You watched the first season.
Did I?
We did a whole the premieres.
No, I didn't watch that though. You and John watched it. Yeah, you and John. Remember, you would watch 2, and then we watched 2, and then we kind of, because we didn't have time to review everything.
Okay.
I always got it mixed up with Timeless, but no, I heard Travelers. I heard it was good though, right?
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Yeah,
it's good. People actually coming from the future and going into other people's bodies, like rewiring their brain and becoming these people. It's actually pretty fucked up in a way, but they do it at the moment the person's supposed to die, because they know when the person's going to die. And yeah, it's to save the future.
To save the future.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe I'll check it out.
Interesting. But done by the guys who did Stargate SG-1 and all that. So it's
that's good.
Yeah, it's got a lot of alumni from that.
The second Ghostbusters cartoon was pretty hardcore. Was there a second Ghostbusters
cartoon? The one with the guy that was in the wheelchair and that. Yeah, I remember that one. That was actually pretty good. I still like the first one, the first season, which is on Netflix, by the way. The first season of Ghostbusters, the animated Ghostbusters.
Was there a new animated Ghostbusters? I'm not aware of this at all.
There was a second animated Ghostbusters. So they had the Extreme Ghostbusters is the first one, and then I can't remember what the second one was called. It was another Ghostbusters Extreme. Thank you. Extreme Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's what it was. So the real Ghostbusters was the first series.
And they had the name that because there was another cartoon called Ghostbusters.
Yes.
That had nothing to do with that. So.
And then the second series was called Extreme Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Or Ghostbusters Extreme, something like that.
I'll have to watch it. I did.
And that was the one with the guy in the wheelchair. They had a guy in a wheelchair, and then it was basically a different group of people, because the Ghostbusters themselves, I believe in the first episode, they say they got sucked into another dimension or something like that. And so these guys had to actually don the proton packs and whatnot, and
to find them, or did they ever find them
fight?
Again?
I think if I remember correctly, it's been a while.
Did we ever get our original Ghostbusters back?
No, not that I remember.
I don't care then.
Yeah,
got their action figures on the wall somewhere up there. Yeah, right down there. There he is. There's Ray, right there.
Do Ray Egon.
Oh. You know, so many jokes did not land in the second one, and that is one of them. I like the second one, but I mean, listen, the first Ghostbusters is like a perfect movie. It's so fucking good, and it was so different, and it was the #1 movie. No, it got beat by another movie, but I remember it beat out Indiana Jones, which was impressive, and the Temple of Doom. Made more money in Temple of Doom that summer.
Yeah.
What's up, Susan?
What? Yeah, I'm still here.
The original's retired, says Mage Grey Wolf. Gotcha.
Well, speaking of Indiana Jones, so remember Chris Pratt was up for the Indiana Jones thing? Well, Paramount, which actually does Indiana Jones, distributes it, they're at it again. They have Chris Pratt, and he's in early talks to play the Saint over at Paramount.
You know, like I said when I posted this to Nerdrotic, have we not learned this was done 20 years ago with Val Kilmer and a Volvo tie-in? It didn't do well. It sucked. The Volvo may have had a better reception. Okay, let's not. You know, Chris Pratt is not Roger Moore.
Nope.
You know, and the only reason they're going to do this is we're going to turn the Saint, Simon Templeton, we're going to turn him into a badass, rippled stomach superhero guy. And that's really not what the Saint was about. And that's what we're going to get.
And, you know, the thing is, I was actually reading about this. I didn't realize there was a radio program on the Saint back in the 30s.
Yeah. I think my grandmother told me about that. Yeah.
So yeah, based on, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I didn't realize that because I used to watch the old Roger Moore when in reruns. I mean, that was an awesome show. Yeah.
But dude, that's like a property like nobody's got. I mean, like it was old for us.
Yeah.
And I don't
they're going to turn it into something jokey. They're going to turn it into, him doing a shtick from Guardian of the Galaxy. And it's not going to be done. Just like when Wild Wild West came out. I was psyched to see that. I thought, okay, I'm not on board with all this casting, but I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm going to see it. And I was horribly disappointed.
Oh God, I love that show. Oh,
yeah.
I know, I love it, and I would actually welcome seeing it done the right way, but let's not anymore because we're not going to get the right people. And even at the time, Kevin Kline is talented, Will Smith is talented, but not in those roles.
No,
not in that capacity for Jim West and Artemis Gordon. Well, and you're going to get people. Everybody's going to be disappointed.
As Mr. Roboto says, it had a giant spider.
It did. Dr. Lovelace, played by the big great Michael Dunn. We can't bring him back.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, John Peters. That's right. Tucker Man Balls. John Peters and that fucking giant spider.
Oh, I know
that
story.
Yeah, that story. If you ever heard Kevin Smith at all speak, that fucking thing, that story comes up all the time. So yeah, and it finally made its way into Wild Wild West,
and we know the story.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it was bad. Go watch the show. The show was a great show. So we gotta wrap up with we got a couple more stories to tell first. One of them's the last one's going to be with Susan. So I'm going to briefly go over because we have Doctor Who in the title. We did talk about it a little bit earlier. Doctor Who. I've had a theory that the scripts kind of have to go through a process before they get make it to the screen. Like they have to fill out a certain checklist to make sure we maximize ideology, and to it borders on propaganda at some points. And that's fine if you're from that side of the aisle, but if you're not, it probably isn't. If you're in the center, it's very noticeable. And we have even Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear put out an article saying as much. I did it in another podcast. I'm gonna do it on this.
Oh my God, I love Jeremy. I know it's not popular to love him, but I do.
I fucking love him. Are you kidding me?
Grand Tour, people. Grand Tour.
Yes. So he basically, and I read it on another. He basically came out and said, "You guys are being ridiculous. You've kind of like lost the art of being unbiased into something, or presenting or maybe not talking about it at all because it's Doctor Who and it's supposed to be escapism." I gave the story on Patreon, my Patreon nooner, briefly, like why Dennis and I started this show. It was we were both going through a really hard time in our lives 5 years ago, and we just wanted to forget about shit for a couple hours. So Dennis is like, let's do a podcast. And we're like, fuck it. Yeah. So we went to a Starbucks and started a podcast because we just didn't want to think about shit because the world was sucking at that time. And that's what we wanted to base this thing on, is like, we want to keep our escapism, the way it is. It doesn't mean completely political free. It just means like, if you're going to be Doctor Who, let's be sci-fi once in a while in an episode. Maybe it hasn't been at all. It's been awful. It's been awful. So the theory has been that the BBC probably has a script supervisor or somebody who makes you put stuff in that really makes the plot secondary, if that. And it looks like Neil Gaiman has stated the obvious. Basically, he said the Doctor Who scripts have been messed with. And at least he caught them messing with one of Toby Whitehouse's script, who's he does Being Human with, and he's going to be doing a series with Toby Whitehouse. Dennis actually, this was supposed to be on last week's Friday Night Tights. He's going to be doing Gormenghast, the book series Gormenghast, and he's going to be doing that with Toby Whitehouse, who did Being Human. That's going to be fucking awesome, by the way. I can't wait to see that. And he said, I'm going to be doing a separate video on this later in depth, give you more theories, but Neil Gaiman has revealed that Doctor Who once messed with fellow writers' script in the past, and not for the better. And he said during a Q&A sit down, he said the nearest we come to working together, him and Toby, was when we met at a reading for Doctor Who. Toby's episode had been read that morning and mine in the afternoon. Neil Gaiman told Deadline. We definitely liked each other. And we liked each other's work because I was writing Doctor Who. I had the privilege of reading Toby's script, which I felt on the whole was rather better than the episode came out. And then he goes in to talk about Nightmare in Silver and the Doctor's Wife. And he won a bunch of awards for the Doctor's Wife, as he should have, because it was a great episode. But Nightmare in Silver was actually supposed to be a two-parter that the BBC made them do a one part because they cut the budget. And I'm going to be in this video. I'm going to be defending Stephen Moffat and Chris Chibnall a little bit because I think I think Neil Gaiman is sending a message in this article because it really has like, what reason does he have to bring up Doctor Who right now? He's talking, especially negatively. He's talking about his new show. Why bring up Doctor Who? I mean, he was asked, why not just go, it seems like he went out of his way to say this. And in that video, I will explain why. Kind of a smoke signal kind of thing. So it's pretty interesting. And yeah, you probably all know that in a writing room, a writer's script gets fucked with. But generally, if you're somebody like Toby Whitehouse or Neil Gaiman, both of them have run TV shows before, they have juice. So to have the gonads to change their scripts, and I think it kind of explains the decline a little bit. Doctor Who has declined. I know there's people out there who disagree with me. They'll say the ratings are good. My argument will be, most people loved Force Awakens when it came out. Not all. Dennis and I did not like it. They made a ton of money, and The Last Jedi made a ton of money, but then Han Solo, Solo came out, and you started seeing the repercussions of the damage done to a property. That's going to be happening very soon with Doctor Who, and it's already happening here in the States. So that's what I wanted to talk about in Doctor Who. We also have one more article that Dennis probably won't be involved in, unfortunately, but it's woo-woo.
Go for it.
But it's written by a friend of ours.
Who's that?
I don't know. I just lost it too. God dang it. Hang on. Read a chat.
I was going to say, while you're fumbling around there with that, it's good to see you, Silver Spike, by the way. Good to see you in here. Rough Girl says, I just bought Fire and Blood book. Are we going to get Winds of Winter book?
Did you get it early? Because it's not out yet. It's not out till the 20th, unless did they ship it early somewhere?
I think you just bought it online is all that happened.
So the Winds of Winter, they commissioned an artist blabbed. He probably shouldn't have done this, and he might not have a job after this, but he blabbed that he had been commissioned to do one of the covers for the European version of Winds of Winter, which means they're within a year, probably 9 months. I think we'll see it by next fall. But that guy blabbing, he shouldn't have done that, but he blabbed. It was a big deal. And some people caught it. Some people didn't. Actually, Emergency Awesome reported it before we did. I was going to do it on a nooner and I forgot. But yeah, I look for that shit every day. I look for rumors, and I am very up to date on the Winds of Winter rumors, which there's a lot of bullshit ones out there. So don't believe them. There used to be this like Christian website that would always run the Game of Thrones rumors for the clickbait. It was pretty funny. But there, yes, Susan wrote an article. Go ahead, Dennis, if you're going to read a couple more chats. That's cool.
Okay, great. Tim F says, as I said before, keep sci-fi and Doctor Who. It's what the show did best because it's a fucking science fiction show.
Yeah. Keep it fun and science fiction. And if you're going to go someplace in the past, don't go to freaking concentration camps. Don't go to the partition of India. Don't go to Montgomery, Alabama in 1955. They did it so they would get that praise. And it was one of the lowest rated episodes here in the States for this season. And it was one of the lower ones there. It's still being watched by millions of people in the UK. And, millions of people like bad stuff. Happens all the time. That's not a good way to, that's not a way to back up your show saying it's popular and it's not here. And basically what I've been seeing on our recaps is more and more people coming back upset after they've seen it. A lot of people were reserving judgment and waiting. Now that we're halfway through, people are coming out and they're pissed. They're pissed, and it's way too late to save that show. I have a solution in the video, but it is too late, and I think it's too late for Star Trek too. I think it's gone too.
K-Sis says each Doctor Who script has to go to a board who must read the scripts and remove anything remotely exciting.
It's called the BBC.
No, that cannot do. We have to remove that. That is too titillating.
That is just what I think, and it's I wouldn't be surprised.
They do censor at the Beebs. They do. I mean, Top Gear was always running into that all the time. And, that's probably, I wouldn't doubt it. That's probably what's going on there as well. That process they have those checkers. So, yeah.
Well, how did the same guy who wrote Blink write Kill the Moon? Now, if you didn't watch Doctor, you don't know what I'm talking about, but just imagine a really good episode of something and then a really the same guy who wrote, I don't know, the first Happy Days episode. What's a good Happy Days episode?
The Mork episode. How about that?
The Mork episode wrote the Jump to Shark episode. I mean, it's like, it makes no sense at all. But
it's
then
when you
again,
get tired, man, you
Ridley
get to that
Scott.
point. It's like, what can we do? Make him jump a shark? Sure. Okay. Why not?
Then we go right back to the vicious cycle of, the old fashioned way of looking at television with 26 episodes and hour-long formats and not adjusting to people's attention spans and the times that we're living in and still being a little antiquated. And this is what you get because you're in a writer's room, you're with a show that is a legend, and you have to come up with new, fresh, interesting things. And you get to the point where it's the 28th millionth season. And okay, what are we doing this week? Oh, there's a warehouse. It's abandoned. Yep, there we are. Oh. We're in an elevator. Okay, we're stuck. What human drama can happen with 5 people in an elevator? What dark secrets do they reveal? That's the point we're at now.
Yeah, and Doctor Who, it's a rock quarry. So
yeah.
And honestly, after seeing, I just saw 2 episodes of this current season of Doctor Who, and thinking back right now, the first episode and the latest episode, and thinking back, I was going, what could really, and it's going to be kind of unpopular, you could actually shorten these episodes to half an hour because there's a lot of filler. A lot of filler.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
And last episode, where they went back to Yaz's grandmother, I'm going to say this, and it's probably going to be contrary to what some people think, but I think that was the first episode this season that attempted to go back to the Doctor, the Doctor Who of David Tennant and her name, guys, escaping me.
Rose.
Rose, yeah, her real name. It was the first attempt that I saw with the writing that reminded me of that season. Forget the border war and stuff. It was more about what was going on with them, and that, that Stephen Moffat made me cry again, or Russell Davies made me cry again. It was that sort of thing that Doctor Who is good at, about coming into these situations and not preaching, but just sort of, they had their preachy moments, but it was one of those episodes where I saw a glimpse of what Doctor Who used to be. Billy Piper, thank you.
I think it's gone. I think it's gone. Yeah. They really were ham-fisted with it and spoon-fed some of the stuff. And honestly, it was decent characterizations, but not the Doctor. Graham is the best character.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
And he had the best speech in there when he was telling Yaz to live in the moment. That was like the only thing. And then it would just like ridiculous. Well, it wasn't even a bad guy. It was a misunderstood good guy, which actually concept wise was decent, but it was also plucked from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in a very strange way. And yeah, that's what we're going to get. We're halfway through. We're more than halfway through now, and there's no story.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
There's no stakes. There's nothing. It's just meh.
And someone said it way earlier on the chat. They said that Doctor Who is actually just taking unused scripts from Timeless, because Timeless would go back into the past, and go to these areas. You know, they would mine a very not looked at part of history, and that would weave the story through that. But they did it in a way that was actually fairly, holy crap. Thank you, Rub.
Grandfather.
Yeah, for 100 rubies. Is that what that is?
It's a rubles, I believe.
Rubles.
Yes.
There
Thank
we go.
you, grandfather.
On a lighter note about Doctor Who, 5 weeks until Enemy of the World retroactively becomes pure historical, sort of 60 story about distant future of 2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Thanks for the super chat.
Thank you.
Yes, a distant, a 60s version of 2018. that's yeah. We should probably just rewatch that. DW5. We have an exact date on that? Here, I'm gonna see. Continue reading one more chat, and then we got to get to Susan's article.
Felipe Diaz says, "Well, I always read comments on Doctor Who's Instagram."
It was 2017. It wasn't 2018. Yeah.
Felipe Diaz says, "Well, I always read comments on Doctor Who's Instagram. At first, most of them were kindly, but now a lot of people pissed at every post."
They are. The people have. I mean, they're mad, and it's not about Jodie Whittaker. It really isn't. It's about the writing of the show. It's the content, and that's what we were worried about. Was, are you just doing this female doctor thing to just make it a female doctor and not really think about it and make it something you can put into Doctor Who lore? Oh, they're going to do it. They're just going to change it instead of actually weaving her in and winning over viewers and giving us really clever and good writing and putting a fucking effort into this. They're all, nope, we made her a woman. We did the big splash. We got all the attention. Now you should all just come watch, right? No, it doesn't work like that. And then we're going to change the history on top of that. And they're going to now, honestly, are they going to do it in the last 5 minutes of the last episode? Because they've hinted one thing in the second episode about the timeless child, who I'm pretty much, it's going to be the Doctor, right? I mean, like, because they haven't introduced anything else. They've mentioned that the Doctor had sisters, which, the Doctor's had lots of family. We'll see what they do. But off a gear on that. The Enemy of the World.
Alien Render said that Will Smith had apologized for Wild Wild West.
He did? Well, that's good. Graffader, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
You're awesome.
Mr. B Natural says the enemy in the Doctor Who New Year special is super intelligent tofu.
And he follows that up with that. I'm not kidding.
They cannot kill them because they're endangered.
Yes, I mean, it's not the tofu's fault for being, ill-tempered and evil.
It's just been soaked in lots of wasabi, so that's why it's angry.
So that's why it's angry. Mako said, "I noticed that too. Doctor Who looks like timeless this season." Mako agrees with you.
Yeah. No, it wasn't me. Someone else had brought it up, I was actually thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, they have been kind of copying some of the timelesses. I thought it was kind of funny. Mary Ashmead says completely changed the history, has nothing to do with Jodie Whittaker, bad writing, not even Doctor Who anymore.
No. And so Silver Spike says this is a completely new production team who need time to settle in. It took 2 freaking seasons for the next to get good. I liked it from season 1. I liked it I loved the Rose episode. I adore it. I don't think they have 2 seasons, Silver Spike. And settling in, these are professionals. I'd say settling in would be 3 or 4 episodes. But when you're settling in on a shortened season, that's just for one, they shortened her season, so she's only getting 11 episodes total. That's including the New Year's Eve special. And then you took a year off to get this ready. That doesn't fly with me. I mean, they aren't taking over a show midstream, we're getting settled in. These are pros. These are professionals. They should be ready to roll. They have a template, one of the best templates in television. and it was their decision to change everything and not bring in Daleks. So I'm not buying that one. Nope.
Cases says Will Smith apologized for After Earth yet? Because he really should. Yeah, if that's the case, he's got to apologize for Jaden, for having Jaden. If that's going to be the case.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
For Star Trek Next Generation, yeah, it took 3 seasons for that to get good. I agree with you that, but I didn't see that in a previous sentence there.
Penn Farm Girl says Dennis Rosa was even more of a Timeless knockoff. Yeah, they actually did. Timeless did a Rosa Parks episode. It was kind of a tangent, if you will. They didn't do it as heavy-handed as the Doctor Who one that I heard about.
They did. Timeless did a Rosa Parks episode. That's
they
hilarious.
did.
I did not know that. That is funny.
Yeah. So it's yeah, man. Well, they also did the women from NASA, the human computers. They did it before that movie came out as well. Like about a couple months before that movie came out, and it was kind of funny. They went into more depth than the movie did.
They did. That's funny.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I mean, but the thing is, people don't really like to learn while they're watching a sci-fi show, and I'm pretty sure that's what killed it. So it's bad, man. Learning stuff.
Yeah. I have worked in TV, Silver Spike. Not as long as you have or others have, but I know how it goes. And yeah, you get paid a lot of money to do fun stuff. So I think you should bring your A game all the time. I'm a bit of a hard ass like that. If you get paid millions of dollars or hundreds of $1,000s to edit a TV show, you better bring your best fucking work on day one. Nobody in Hollywood, maybe that's how they work in the BBC, but nobody in Hollywood is going to like give you time to get your feet under you.
Silver Spike just asked you English TV.
English TV?
Did you work in English TV?
No, I did
not. Sorry, it was kind of funny. So you have a woo-woo article, do you?
We do have a woo-woo article. Yeah, Silver Spike, you've heard. I work for Technicolor. I've compressed Blu-rays. I've edited episodes of House. So yeah, I've fucking worked in TV. And yeah, I know what it's like. So let's go.
Yeah, tell us. What do you got there? What you got? What's
Doctor
the box?
Who season 11 sucks. It does. Sorry. If you know people that sucks, I'd be that's why I don't get friendly with people in TV, because I'd want to be defending them too. But it also affect how I think about things. Like I'm not going to be able to, when we talk to Derek, I'm not going to be able to criticize anything about the boys ever. I'm going to have to leave that to you guys because I won't be able to do it. Let's get to the woo-woo. UFOs have been, oh, by the way, this was written by somebody we know. Maybe you should tell us about it, Susan, since you wrote it.
Sure. A couple days ago, there was a sighting by some commercial airline pilots over County Kerry, Ireland, of some a mysterious object that was moving twice the speed of sound, according to one pilot. And this sparked a whole investigation that the IAA is looking into right now. And it wasn't just one pilot, it was several pilots that saw this amazing flash of light that just went by their plane, that buzzed them. It wasn't a collision course or anything. It wasn't like they were going to crash into it, but it was something that they've never seen before. And apparently quite a few pilots from Virgin Airways were calling into Shannon's air traffic control center and reporting these things. And one pilot was like, yeah, it's probably just debris. It's probably just, dust or particles. And then in County Armagh, there was an astronomer who said that more than likely it was a meteor shower. That's what they were seeing, parts of meteors, and it was coming off as if it was, going at a super fantastic rate of speed with a different sort of trajectory. But the one pilot said that he knows what things look like. He understands what a meteor shower is, knows what those trajectories are, also knows commercial aircraft and their patterns, as well as, I guess military and such. Shannon even called the military to find out if anything was happening, like any aerial exercises in the area. Nothing was happening. And so the one pilot said that it appeared as if it were moving at the speed of 2 Mach or Mach 2. For anybody that knows Mach 2, what that would equate to would be over 1,500 miles per hour. Now, we did a test back in 1973 of one of our that started the X planes and everything. We started looking into this, and that's what the whole X-Plane series was. And we actually had a plane that exceeded that and went 7,000 miles per hour. And I believe that's Mach 9. And that's like Star Trek area with the Enterprise. And that program was discontinued in 2013. So if it wasn't something experimental, if it wasn't something from the Air Force or whatever is the equivalent over in the UK, what was it? What did these pilots see? Is it really dust particles? Is it really a meteor shower? Now, what was interesting to me is nobody asked a nearby area like Armagh, where they have an observatory, if there was a meteor shower, if anything was happening in the skies that would be a natural cause. As of yet, we haven't heard anything. The IAA is investigating. So that's where we are with that particular piece of information there. And there, and I understand it's science, so you want to look at it in the most logical way. You can't just be Georgia and say, well, it's aliens or misunderstood technology. No, we have to look at it practically, but then you have to wonder what's happening. If it's not, and I think Geekus Maximus Ben says they don't have any Mach capable planes over in Ireland, only the British. And given the current political situation, I don't think we would do anything to give them any kind of grievance, the ROI, any kind of legit grievance, which is probably true. I don't think we'd be flying our planes over Irish airspace. I don't know why we would do that. I don't know if there's anybody over there. I don't know if Russia would do it. I can't speak to what they would do. But normally when you do test flights of planes, you don't take them out into populated areas. You won't take them into space where, in a space where commercial airlines are. So what is it? That's the question. And that's where we are with it. And I think it's very, very interesting.
What's also interesting, I don't know if it got brought up here, the woman who was piloting the British Airways, she said something to where it came up beside them. There's audio of all this. Yeah. There's audio recording of this. It's on, if you go to the Secure Team 10 video, he's got the recording. I could link it in the description once. It's interesting. Now, one guy said, now this is where I just think disinformation comes in, and they try to listen. They try to poo-poo these things. What's rare about this particular event is we had multiple pilots, which when I read it in another article, reported it as a small number of commercial pilots. This is the first time I can remember multiple pilots reporting a UFO and it getting out there and it being reported by the mainstream media. Now, whether this was a UFO or not, you had multiple pilots talking about it. One threw out there that it could have been a meteor, and then one says, I'm paraphrasing what he said, that's not, I know what a meteor looks like. Meteors don't do that. So whatever it did, it didn't do something. It didn't look like a meteor to two of the other pilots. So one pilot just saw a light, and the other ones were closer. Listen to the audio, go to the audio. I can't honestly remember it off the top of my head right now. But I thought that was interesting. And actually the most interesting thing about that is the mainstream media reporting this at all, which is cool. And then of course it gets to 1428L, which is even cooler.
Well, we're not mainstream, but yeah, I mean, if I get
You are to me.
if I get these things, we do try to report on them because everybody loves to read about UFO stories and the different, and I try to find the weird, like woo-woo stuff. If it's not this, it'll be something paranormal based. But yeah, this was just interesting to me and caught my eye because of the commercial airline pilots. You know, what would they gain by making up a story? Now, one pilot, yeah, I could see one pilot if he wanted his 15 minutes of fame. But when it's several of them, you have to ask, what is it that we're seeing? What's going on? You know, is it some government that we should be aware of? And Nick Pope made a very good point. Even if it isn't a UFO, which it may not be, there's still a concern about lack of security in our airspaces. And the fact that we're getting these sightings of things that we can't explain. You know, if it is somebody doing something experimental, we should try and figure out what it is. And there is cause to be worried. I mean, maybe Nick's feeding paranoia, what have you, but we should be concerned about things that are in our potential airspace.
At the very least.
Don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's get past anything UFO. There's shit flying around in the skies that we don't know about, then we need to know about it just for reasons, obvious reasons. So I agree with that. I think it's interesting. I don't know what it was, unless there's video or anything. I thought it was cool though. And it made tons of news. So that is good. That is good. The disclosure folks can run out there and say, hey, see, they're prepping the public for disclosure. You're gonna be waiting a long time for disclosure. It is never gonna happen. But
all those people, and did anybody take any video? That's the only thing I want to know.
Did any of the pilots take video? I don't know.
With their phones. I mean, what was they say that it was?
I
like
think if
30
a pilot
pilots
takes video with their phone, they'll probably be in trouble. I think they should be paying attention to the plane.
Well, I mean, you have the co-pilot too, and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think they should be messing with. I don't think they're probably allowed to use their phones on the cockpit. That would be my best guess.
But you know what,
passenger? Yeah, that's a good question.
To Dennis's point, though, it is a good question because it's interesting that no passengers saw this.
Yeah,
that nobody looking out the window went, "Wow, what the hell is this thing?" That's curious too, because you would almost think in this age of cell phones and things that somebody might have gotten footage of it.
I think it's a very good question, and that was pretty much the first one I asked. I was like, did no passengers see this? And might have been. It was pretty early in the morning. I want to say, I could be wrong about that. I thought I heard some early time, but. And maybe some will pop up later. We don't know. Passengers have gotten some fascinating shit. Go check out the security team video that he's got a couple compilations of stuff seen out of planes, and some of it's completely explainable, and some of it's like straight up bizarre. Like, what the hell's that?
In preparation for this article, I actually read about the experiments with the X-plane and the Mach 9 or 10 that they were trying for that they actually achieved. And they showed footage at an air show of a regular jet just flying normally at, whatever hundreds of miles per hour it was. Then they sped up the film to make it like a Mach 9. And you just could blink and miss that. And it literally looks like the jet disappears because it's that quick. And the idea of having the jet propulsion system, when you look at this plane that they were trying to do, it's absolutely amazing. And I wanted to get to the bottom of the Mach, discussion, because I always heard that in every sci-fi thing, go to Mach 10. And I was like, what the hell is Mach? What does that actually translate into? And luckily I found like a conversion chart. So
yeah, it's
a bit about that.
Speed of sound is 740 miles per hour, I believe, offhand.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So 1 Mach equals that speed.
it's something that we have experimented with. As far as I know, we don't have anything out there, but that doesn't mean what they're doing at Groom Lake, that's anybody's guess.
Yeah, I think they say right now, I probably am mistaken on this. I think they said the highest we can go right now is Mach 5 with experimental aircraft.
Yeah, it said that in the article, didn't it? Yeah, that would still be really tough on the body and everything.
Yeah.
And yes, Marcus, it is known as scramjet tech. Yes, that's what it's called.
Yeah. Mr. B Natural says passengers were distracted by the gremlins on the wings.
Oh my God. Yeah, they were all in Jordan Peele's upcoming Twilight Zone episode.
You saw it too?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if this yeah, here's some video. Hang on. It was in the second video for secure game. I mean, this could be anything, okay, folks? So as we state for the exozone, as we state here, this is just for fun. We throw it out there. We try to keep an open mind. Sure, UFOs could exist. We're not saying they exist for a fact. We're not saying anything for a fact. We're just here shooting the shit with you all tonight. Now let me get a bright object was spotted flying level with our aircraft. Our aircraft is flying west. Camera is pointing north, but
she's gone plaid.
Oh, okay. No, okay. This is just a compilation. So no, there was not. Trying to see if this was connected with. Oh, it's just a compilation of UFOs seen from aircrafts. Okay, so this isn't the one. Never mind. And this one, honestly, I'll show you. It's just a bright light. That could be fucking anything. So.
And normally, if you see a bright light, is it Venus?
Don't strike me, secure team. I love you. Sorry. Well, yeah, it's Venus or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that's weird looking. I mean, yeah, but that could be artifact from the camera or something, who knows?
Yeah. And I'm sure they'd get somebody in there to actually, go over the footage and see that it's not something that's, fake or doctored up through Adobe Photoshop or whatever editing tools you can use these days.
We got to get our video up too.
All right.
Well, read through some chat while
that's what I was doing. Yeah.
Hidden
Wiki says I could blow your mind with what I could lead you to at Susan Lighton, but Gary is right. Secure team does a good job. Mock, laugh out loud. How about invisible? Wink, exozone.
Yes, the exozone. Hashtag the exozone. There's a 5-hour version of that on Doomcock's channel, and we did kind of a pilot episode on our channel. You can search it. Search the exozone. It's lots of fun.
Operation Sky Pebbles says, sounds like the UFO Bob Lazar worked on retro engineering at Area 51.
Bob Lazar. Yes, Bob Lazar.
With the unstable 115 element
115, which actually exists now. And when he said it, we did not know it existed. And people said he was full of shit.
Slurmy Scott. Nope. Something else. Mage Grey Wolf says, I was listening to the police band once and a woman reported the moon as a UFO.
Oh my God.
that I can believe. And that's the thing that I'm kind of I kind of preached with the whole UFO community is we really got to weed out the mistakes and the weirdos because it doesn't help at all. Like I want to be very practical towards this. Yes, I want scientific. I believe they exist, but you're going to listen. Even if one lands on the freaking White House lawn, half the people are not going to believe it anyway, because they just will refuse to believe something like that.
They'll say it was staged like the moon landing.
Yeah.
Well, that was all Ridley Scott. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Or no, not Ridley Scott. Excuse me. I'm just blanking on his name.
There you go. Good one.
Thanks. Never mind. Oh, God. Slurmy Scott says, never heard of the extrasolar object until The Expanse. Now we have a real one going by. So cool. Persian Scribe, I agree with Gary. There will never be disclosure due to National Security Act of 1947.
No, there won't be. And doing it, again, most people wouldn't believe it anyway, or they would think it's some kind of a misinformation. There would be people, I don't think there'd be the mass panic that they think would happen. But I
there
think
probably would be.
I don't
There's
think there
not
would
a
be.
mass
I think
panic.
most people like are convinced. I think most people would go, yeah, you know. I don't think there'd be rioting on the streets. No.
I would always, even from a kid, I would welcome seeing somebody from another world. I mean, who didn't see Close Encounters and say, I wish that could be me, when Richard Dreyfuss like goes into the ship,
absolutely.
It's like, I would love to see what 3 stars look like circling a planet, what it would be like to have 3 moons or 3, suns. I would love to see something like that. Something, even just space and the whole serenity of it. That would be great. And I would welcome something like that, but the rest of the world would probably panic. It wouldn't be to the extent that the government thinks, but yeah, there would probably be problems that would exist if disclosure would come about. Would be a lot of rioting. Why didn't you tell us this beforehand?
Listen. I will preach some Douglas Adams from Life, the Universe, and Everything. The Somebody Else's Problem field, where a giant spaceship lands in the middle of a cricket field and nobody notices it because it's so out of their realm that it's somebody else's problem. So they don't have to have any field. It's just people's ingrained denial. It's fucking funny in the book anyway. Arthur's like, how come nobody sees that ship? Is because you're humans. You can't get your mind. We have the somebody else's problem field up. Somebody sees it and goes, that's somebody else's problem. And they just walk on by. They kind of told a little bit of that story in American Gods. Was it American Gods? I think it was American Gods. I could be wrong on that one. When they saw, or maybe it was Taboo. I'm forgetting now. When the Native Americans saw the first ship coming over, that they didn't know what the fuck it was. So
they couldn't comprehend it.
Couldn't comprehend it at all.
Yeah, so they couldn't see it. Honestly, yeah.
The somebody else's problem field. I think that would be a lot of it. Maybe we've seen it already, and yeah.
We all know.
I could just throw that up in my daily life. Just that field everywhere.
With somebody else's problem field. Oh man,
somebody else's problem.
I worked that one hard. That's good.
No. And we all know that Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing anyway. So there we go.
He was so good. Actually, it wasn't one of his best films either. No.
It wasn't.
Yeah, don't get down that road, man. I accidentally brought that up on the Exozone. That started some shit, and I was like, guys, I was kidding. Okay, yeah. So definitely on the Exozone, we will not bring it. There's a couple subjects we will just never bring up. So. That is one of them.
Operation Sky Pebble says they put people in a hypnotic trance so they don't think about taking photos with their phones. Everyone was just looking at their phones. That's all it was. So they never noticed anything outside. There we go.
Listen, I think they can actually detect. I mean, if they can come across the universe, they can detect if you're pointing a phone at them. There is like a little infrared thing, right? So they could probably just detect it. Why not?
Joe says aliens use lights to distract humans like I do with cats.
Exactly. Well, yeah, they're teasers like in Hitchhiker. They come down, put silly antennas on their head and make meep meep noises.
Oh.
Bitty bitty bitty.
Hey Buck.
Bitty bitty. Hey Buck.
Hey Buck. Man,
want to go get a beer?
I like that show. Aaron Gray.
Yep. I was going to say something really inappropriate, and I was like, "Nope, I got to pull that one back."
Why? It's 10:30. It's okay, Dennis. Be inappropriate, man. Be a rebel. Risk it.
Operation Sky Pebble says they still haven't explained how they got the triangular wheel assembly back into the limb at the same time. Hold the Apollo astronauts. Can anyone say Capricorn 1?
Yeah. Didn't a stolen bird of prey land in San Francisco to save the whales? Matt Guy, it did. It did. It's still there. Yeah.
Well, no, it's there, but it's 300 years in the future.
No, it landed in 80. Did it leave? They flew it. They flew it away. Duh. I remember that movie. Yeah. Well, God. Okay, guys. I've slept since then. I've seen a few. I'm actually watching Star Trek in Order right now, which I can't say. I don't know if I've done it all the way. I don't think I've done that all the way through. Is watch it completely in order, and it's fascinating, Jim.
Is it
fun? Oh my god, I'm loving it. Yeah,
yeah. Star Trek 3, especially the beginning of it, is just the whole thing with the Bones trying to get aboard a ship to get out of Genesis.
I'm like the only person that does not like Star Trek 4, I think, on the face of the earth. Just like I'm the only one that doesn't really like Forrest Gump.
Wow.
Yeah, Star Trek 4 just did not do it for me. I don't hate it. I'm not a hater of it. I watched it because I love everybody in the show, but it just didn't do it for me. It wasn't my episode like 2, like the second film or the sixth film. The sixth film, actually, I had tears at because I knew it was going to be the last one in their series. But yeah, I just couldn't get into the Save the Whales thing.
Huh.
Right. I can. Silver Spike, we got your point. I see you in there. I see you're unsatisfied, so maybe you should go. Okay, if you're not enjoying yourself, that's fine. Don't ruin it for everybody else. I have my opinions. You have yours. I respect yours. But if you're going to come starting trouble in my chat, you will be gone. Is that clear? I hope so. I like having you around. I respect you, but get over it. I don't like Doctor Who. You like it. That's cool. We can agree to disagree. But if you can't, bye. So that's that. Sorry. See, that brings it all down. So we might as well end on a big downer note, just like that. Sorry, guys. Somebody just got triggered and couldn't let it go. So honestly, that's what we talk about is if you don't like something, you tune out. No, you're not. God, I have to do this now, don't I? Yeah, one of my wrenches needs to time her out.
All right. Well, actually, tell you what, I got some other news right here.
Yep.
So, Taboo producers have struck a deal to get the series to air in China. So, I think they're in a money-raising kind of thing right now. I'm pretty sure that's what this is all about. Which is good news. I mean, if they're going to actually put this thing out in China, means they're raising money for season 2, which I think is already being filmed, correct? That's what we've heard already.
Yes. Well, no, I don't know. They've got the money to film it. I think they were waiting to get this thing funded, which any news is good news. And thank God Susan reported it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on the Taboo. Yeah. I saw it and I immediately figured you guys would love to know that because you've been wondering what's going on with it, what's the status. So that's the first legit thing I've read about it.
Yeah, that was the only news that I was so happy to see it. Thank you so much for that. It's probably going to be another year till we get the show, but at least we're getting it. Yeah. I was starting to think that it wasn't going to happen, that they just said it was going to be a season 2 and whatever. That show is fucking brilliant beyond words. So you need to see it. I think it's on FX. Is it on Hulu?
I don't know where it's at right now, to tell you the truth. I know it's on, if you go to the Fox app, it's on there, I believe.
Here, I can find out right now.
I just happened to see this in the chat. MK Ultra. What's Kurt doing right now? Is he flying a plane, making wine? I'm just curious. Funny you should ask MK Ultra, but Kurt Russell is going to be playing Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
Is that on Lifetime or
no Netflix?
Netflix.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Netflix.
And it's on Thanksgiving. It comes out on Thanksgiving. Yeah, and it looks badass too. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
But just MK Ultra, if you're expecting him to be like Snake Plissken as Santa, that's not going to be the thing.
He still kind of kicks ass as it looks like an action Santa in this one. It's kind of funny. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah. He looks like I can't believe Kurt Russell's old enough to play Santa. It's kind of sad, but yeah,
it's the beard. That's why.
Well, and he's 70 now, I think, or close to 70.
Good looking 7-year-old though, right there.
Yeah. And I'm good with it. I love the fact that he's just aging. And I wish more men in Hollywood would just age. We're going to love you. Speaking from the female perspective, I love a guy that lets himself age. Let your hair go gray, guys.
Yep.
Let those crow's feet happen. Just do it. If you put on a few pounds, great. Don't give a shit. I don't have to have abs of steel. Just be a person. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Abs of steel are nice though. I mean, I wish I had them.
Beer
belly, says Matt Guy.
I have abs of cardboard right now.
I'm just speaking from a female that, kind of likes real people.
Cody Cologne says when Disney died, his last words were Santa Claus. I wonder if that's true. I don't know. What were his last words? Save my head? I don't know.
Oh, man. John McClane did not have abs. Fact, MK Ultra.
Abs of gelatin.
Oh, man.
Tim F, rock the gray beard. Do it. Nothing wrong with that. Kurt Russell does.
Yeah, no, I've got some gray in my beard. Not a lot,
just rock it, Dennis.
Yeah. That's all I got going on.
Don't sell yourself short now.
Oh, don't.
No, sorry, it's just getting late.
It is. Let Susan use her sexy voice for now on. Okay. I mean, it's not like I stop her. It's not. I don't let Susan. Thank you, Joe, for the $2. Susan is free to do as she likes.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No, that's not true. Okay, Susan, you're allowed to use your sexy voice now.
Thank you, Gary. I love it when you play my Big Daddy.
Oh, man.
There's your daddy. I can't even do it without fucking laughing. Oh, wow. Oh, maybe we can end it on that high note. We have been going a long time. I apologize to everybody in the chat about Silver Spike. We're just talking about TV here, folks. Okay, it's nothing that serious. Even if you have friends working on it, let it go. Really, I mean, like even my dislike for Doctor Who, I will be letting it go at some point. So we're just in here having fun, and I can handle personal attacks. I don't really like them on my co-host, but if you want to aim them somewhere, aim them at me. My moderators know a couple are okay. It's fine. But when you start bringing down the chat, time to go. So I really am apologize that that happened. I'm really sorry about that, folks. But you know what? We've done a year's worth of shows. It was bound to happen sometime, and it doesn't really happen often here because you guys are fucking cool. So sorry about that. I really do apologize.
Before you sign off, do you mind if I just say one thing?
Sure thing. You're free to say what you like.
Yeah, for you guys,
can say two.
For you guys that are comic book fans, I know I put on Nerdrotic, I posted about Bubba Hotep and the possibility of a new series coming. Joe Lansdale talked to me, and he has an idea of the time that Elvis met basically a den of werewolves in Las Vegas. He has plenty of story ideas. Josh Jabkuga would be the writer of them. If you guys have enjoyed the Bubba series, if you would like to see that continue, because who's to say these ideas couldn't be a future TV series, because Don Coscarelli is looking at that and couldn't go elsewhere to be a TV series. If you're into it, this is what we're trying to do, or at least I've tried to start, is if you're on Twitter at IDW Publishing, go to their Facebook, and let them know that you'd like to see more Bubba Hotep. Just get the word out in whatever social platform that you use, because this is a great series. It's got a lot of potential. And if you like it, just let IDW know. And let Joe, and if you're on any mediums where Joe and Josh are, let them know too, because they worked really hard on this. And we'd love to see Elvis TCB for a while. But thanks for letting me say that, guys. I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. No, Bubba Hotep comic. Yes. There you go, right there. It's a beautiful art too. And like usually, okay, listen, I'm a little hard on IDW. They deserve it.
Yeah.
But, there is a page in here that's so fucking good. I wanted to show you. Oh, like, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, it's a good book. It's a good book.
I always get leery now when you're gonna show a comic. I'm like, is it? No, okay.
No,
it's not going to be a bad day. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
They take the entire thing down.
Yeah.
Well, I'm certainly thinking about it for Silver Spike's act, but I'll keep it up. It sucks, but it sucks that that's going to get out in the world now because somebody was really selfish and decided to take over a chat. So, yeah, hope they feel good. Yeah, you want to piss me off? Then that worked. That pissed me off, and by screwing up everybody else's night in here. So. But
yeah,
most of it
they are in dire straits. I know that they're doing other things, though. I know that they've partnered with Dynamite to do the Ash and Meets Elvis series. So I don't know, what their financials are, but it would be nice if they would at least, let your voices be heard and get it out there, because we all support comics here. And, that's always a good way if you like that character, because unfortunately, as of now, we know we're not going to get Bruce back as Elvis. So if this is the way that we can preserve something like that, let's go for it.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing all that well. They actually have their headquarters down here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I've gone past the office. I've actually been there before too. They used to have what they called comics and science meeting. So they would do like 30 days a night. So they would have Steve Niles there, and then they'd also have some epidemiologists or something like that, and they would talk about vampires and actual blood related illnesses, things like that, and then have beer. And they'd have it every other month. Yeah, you pay like $15 to get in, and you got a beer with it, and you listen to these people and get some stuff signed. And they're not even doing those things all that much anymore. So
yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, it was actually a really cool venue.
Excellent. Do you got any more news, guys?
No, that was it. That's
all
pretty
right.
much we've run them well dry.
Our super chats, our wonderful super chats. Who were as follows: Steele Johnson, Steele Johnson for $2, Movie Fanobi for $4.99, Movie Fanobi for $4.99, The Great Tamarocks for $20, Silhouetted Animator for $2, Steele Johnson for $4.20, yo, $4.20. Oh man, you know what? Now just there's so much smoke here in San Francisco. I say I would take the smell of pot smoke, but I really hate the smell of pot smoke. But $4.20, I love the sentiment, and it should be legal everywhere. Movie Fanobi $1.99, Steele Johnson for $2, Movie Fanobi for $1.99, Mr. Roboto for $2, Mr. Roboto for $2, Mr. Roboto for $2, Brian Falk for $9.99, Graffader for 100 rubles, and Joe for $2. We greatly appreciate you and your super chats. They help keep the lights on around here and help pay for all these subscription services so we can cover these TV shows and tell you whether they're good or not and help you save time and money, because we try to do that. Plus, we also get to watch a lot of TV. Pretty cool. So there, Susan, plug your wares.
Yep, you can find me at 1428 Elm. You can also find me at Susan on the Ledge on Twitter. I'm on a podcast on Midnight's Edge After Dark every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you can meet me, the gang, and some of my writers on there. So come out and support us. And I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram at De Facto Scribe.
De Facto Scribe. I was trying to get to your goddamn website. So now I can show it instead of showing the inside of our YouTube channel, which is really boring. If you want to see it, you can see it. But there you go. That's 1428elm.com. We love it. Look at the Fred head store.
And for our Midnight's Edge After Dark and our podcast, just to let you know, I'm working on getting some guests. We had Harrison Smith, who's a great indie director, and he did the Death House movie, which stars Kane Hodder and Tony Todd, and it's being billed as the Expendables of horror. So we had him on. We had a great time. We're looking to get 2 very special guests coming up that sort of have a connection with something I talked about tonight. And then next year, I'm trying to get a really huge guest on the show. So stay tuned.
Yes, and I like your Hellboy Day, March 23rd, 2019. Yes. Hellboy Day is coming in 2018. Are you ready? Yes.
And I was glad to do that because I know, I have friends like you guys that were in the comic book world. And what was great about this article is that Mike Mignola and Dark Horse retweeted it. So that was great. I really got a kick out of that because I love Dark Horse and Mike Mignola. So
yes.
I was happy.
Carrie Dalton wants to know if you can zoom in on that frittata recipe.
Is there a frittata recipe up there? I can. Would you like to do that? Here, let's go. Let's see, Carrie. This is just for you, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie. That's what we do at my website. We make sure that you get recipes. It's like a twofer.
Mini frittatas.
With Hillshire Farms smoked sausage and potato. It's a 5-star recipe. Here, but it's not letting me click on it. What happens? Am I going to get porn if I click on the link?
Oh,
there you go, Carrie. You screenshot that. There you go. Non-stick cooking spray, 1/4 ounce package of Hillshire.
This show has everything.
It does. What if I don't use Hillshire Farms fucking sausage? What if I'm a rebel? If I use Jimmy Dean or something like that? Yeah, there you go. That is just for you. We try to do what you guys like. We try.
New Oldsmobiles are in earlier this year.
All right, everybody. We're gonna call it a night. We will see you again. Oh boy, we'll be back
Sunday. Sunday.
A very special episode on Sunday, 2 p.m. Derek Robertson from the boys will be here for an interview. I'm also going to be doing a Doctor Who video. One more is coming. Yeah, and more after that, probably, if it keeps going the way it's going. But I don't think we're going to do any. I don't know. I haven't seen any Star Trek videos. Hopefully I can do a Expanse video, but yeah, nothing so far. Belta Loudas, what's up, Tim F? So I want to thank Matt Guy, Johnny Pappas, Tim F. Thank you, Johnny Pappas, for the wrench, by the way. Patrick Olinger, Operation Sky Pebbles. Oh, I just lost it. Damn it. Joe, Hidden Wiki, Philip A. Demick, Carrie Dalton, Tina Beebe, MK Ultra, Mary Ashby to the wrench. Thank you very much. Mr. B Natural. I already said Matt Guy and Hidden Wiki. Coyote Clone, Kato Roan, Frag Minion. What's up, Frag Minion? Coyote Clone and Joe, and then we got Slurby Scott in there, and Carrie Dalton, Mark Lurzeth. How's it going? Going up here some more. And thanks, guys, for the super chats. Again, Coyote Clone, I already said that already. And I don't know how much farther I can go up. I'm still looking for new people. And Asaro. We have Asaro in there. And Lloyd. And How's Your Father? And Marcus Kahn. I knew there were some more people in there. And Tim F. If I missed anybody else, thank you so much for joining us. You are still the best chat in YouTube. I love you guys. Dennis, take us out.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you might get wrenched.
Damn fucking straight. Stretch this one, Susan, because I got to get to my sign off here. That's on that I got from oh my god, from the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. So make it a long, sexy goodbye.
A long, sexy well, anything divided can be long and sexy. So you guys, thanks for joining us tonight, and join us next week, especially after dark, where we can talk about dick and sausages.
Oh, folks, this is a line from the end from the end of one of the segments of Ballad of Buster Scruggs. When a cowboy trades his spurs for wings. I'm waiting for the line to come up. This is pretty damn funny, and it's apropos. I lay my guns down. There's just got to be a place up ahead where a man ain't low down and poker's played fair. If there weren't, what are all the songs about? I'll see y'all there, and we can sing together, shake our heads at all the meanness in the used to be. Goodbye, everybody.